No, I'm doing that.
You're doing that now, eh? That's fine.
Mhm.
Right. So we have got, obviously, we're going to throw this up to the public. And what I'm going to say, first of all, is I hope everyone, we can debate this or discuss this amicably. We're all residents of the area. We all have our views. But I have seen some comments elsewhere, which I thought were getting a bit close to the bone in terms of not appropriate. I hope we can all start from the premise that we all like our area. We all have our may have different perspectives, but if we try and, it's like, let's play the ball rather than man, right? And that's my sort of aspiration. I hope that is okay. And what I'm going to do is, as we're going to call the individuals who have submitted a request to speak at the meeting, and we'll do that obviously one by one. Once they've all spoken, I will then throw it open to the floor to other members of the public to speak. And the only proviso I would make is that this is a meeting for Brickhill Parish residents. So though obviously we have no objection at all to anyone else turning up, this is for Brickhill Parish residents to speak. So I hope that's okay. I hope that's clear. And I just thought I know many of you have already been to the meeting with Richard Fuller last week, and I'd like to thank Mike Barlow for letting me into that meeting. And it's interesting to listen to Richard. And also, I'm sure many of you listened to the Borough Council discussion last night as well. So, you know, I actually feel as if we've got loads more people now with too much, you know, more knowledge than we all want about railway matters than was the case a year or 2 years ago. So, and I'm sure you didn't necessarily want to have that extra knowledge, but you've got it. So well done to everyone who has been spending time researching. I'm going to try and share my screen again, because I just wanted to try and put a little bit of perspective on this from a parish council point of view. And this is my take on it. And I hope I was trying to keep to sort of, if you like, trying to keep as much factually based as I possibly could. So if I can go to the right place, and I'm going to share my screen again. And this is the problem with these sort of things going on over quite a period of time. So this is my recollection and the facts which I've been able to glean. So back in 2019, East West Rail launched a consultation on the route between Bedford and Cambridge. We discussed it at the meeting in February 2019, and the agreement we had was that we would look at the consultation document and we'd email our comments to the clerk by the following Friday, which would enable her to compile a draft response for consideration at the March meeting. I'm not sure how many people did that, but basically, so hence that's the first time we discussed it. There was a public consultation meeting held at the Scott Hall in Barford Avenue in February, which I went to, and a lot of people I think also did attend that. And that was one of a number of meetings, including that was one of the ones advertised on the card which they delivered around the area in some places. Then shortly after that, myself and Vince Holloway, one of the other parish councillors, we went to a meeting with other parish councillors and EWR, in fact, also at Scott Hall, which they were just trying to get our perspectives on things. And we met with other parish councillors from other parishes across the eastern part, sort of east of Bedford. Then in March, we had our meeting and we agreed to support a route that would pass through Bedford and to the north and would support either D or E. I have to say, first of all, I don't recall exactly who was present at that meeting from the members of the public. We're quite fortunate. I want to thank Chris Bales for his efforts in providing a recording process. Well, you can't see my screen, can you? Oh, wonderful. Sorry, apologies. It's the second click I didn't do. Right. So I do want to thank Chris for his steps to make sure we had recordings of those meetings that were taking place around that time. And many of you may have watched those recordings, and I've heard myself speaking far too long at those meetings. Chris and Michael John Webb also put a leaflet out across Woodlands Park at that time. And I've got to say, I don't think there was much of a response to it. So when we had our discussion in March, Chris and Michael put forward their case, there was a discussion, and the parish council came up with that resolution. And then nothing else happened of note until early last year, when the government of East West Rail announced their preference for the Route E. Then it went quiet again until, this is from my perspective, it went quiet again until there were some further meetings. I think East West Rail organised some further meetings, including Remston Parish Hall, Village Hall, in early last year, and other places as well, some of which took place, some of which were cancelled because of the COVID crisis. And then again, it went quiet until we had our discussion at our last parish council meeting in February, in which we then decided to have this meeting here today to give people the chance to air things in full. So that's my timeline for, I think, our involvement in this. I've looked back at what we did or didn't do during that time, and the parish council did not issue anything in our parish newsletters about East West Rail and back in 2019, and I think it was because it's usually a timing issue, and I think it was because it was in the run-up to the elections that took place in May 2019, and basically our first leaflet of the year was prepared too soon for the consultation, and then the next one was too late for the consultation, so hence we didn't mention it, but it was mentioned on our parish council's Facebook page. So for everyone who is unhappy about what the parish council has done in terms of communicating or consulting, I have to apologise for that. We're not here we don't go out of our way to upset people. We don't mean to do that, and we're very much here tonight to listen to what you have to say. So I'm now going to shut up and throw it open to members of the public, and we've got Rachel McCarthy as the first person to speak. Rachel, I'm just hoping Sue can find you and unmute you.
If you can perhaps show yourself. Yeah, perhaps if you show your screen, Mark, it might help. Because I've got to try and find her. Is she not? Are you not able to unmute yourself, actually?
No. Hang on. I have a way for doing this, right?
You can, yes.
Just spell McCarthy properly.
You need to search for her.
This gets complicated. Rachel is not showing as McCarthy. So here we go. Right. Rachel, hopefully you've got a little prompt now to say unmute. Still clicking the button for Rachel. Yeah. Any chance? Is Rachel able to do that? Just chatting. I'm going to send a text message to Rachel now. Okay, Rachel, I think you are. You're still there, but you're still muted.
You might need to come back to Rachel, possibly Mark.
Possibly, in which case, one more.
She did say she might have problems with internet connection, so I think perhaps go on to the next and come back.
Right, in that case, Mike Barlow. And Mike, I'm just going to again click on the ask to unmute button. Yeah, Mike, you're unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. Good evening, everyone. Look, as Mark, you're right. Some of us have been thrust into this because we've got an interest. I've got no desire whatsoever to learn about railways. And I've probably got more knowledge now than I thought I ever would have in the last couple of weeks. And to be honest, I've got no desire really to learn about politics, but I'm learning quite a lot about that. But I'm not a politician. as I said last night at the borough meeting, nor do I want to be one, but I do admire those people that do feel that particularly calling. But I would genuinely rather have my feet up in front of Netflix than be doing this. Look, further to the parish council meeting of the 4th of February, which got a bit emotional. I'm not going to apologise for getting emotional. This is my home. It's our homes we're talking about. You know, many people have accused me and others of being a NIMBY. But my backyard happens to be beautiful, undulating, rolling Bedfordshire countryside. So call me what you want. Look, I thought, as I did last night, I'd look up on the government website of what it means to be a parish councillor. And the government website states a councillor's primary role is to represent their ward or division and the people who live in it. Councillors provide a bridge between the community and the council, as well as being an advocate for local residents and signposting to the right people of the council. You need to keep them informed about the issues that affect them. I'll leave that there. I asked Richard Fuller to host a Zoom meeting, as you mentioned. He hosted it on the 17th of February, which attracted almost 70 attendees. The recording of that has had over 750 views, following which I gave my email address out on there, and I've had hundreds of email communications on this subject since then. Many of those from Brickhill residents, both from within Woodlands Park, which is clearly highly directly affected, and other Brickhill residents from outside of Woodlands Park, so the broader Brickhill. Not one of those communications has been in support of Route E. I believe some of them will talk later about where they feel failed by the parish council and their concerns about the parish council's support for Route E and the abject failure of communication from the borough specifically to residents about the facts regarding the railway. And also the guarded and evasive nature and the deferring of responsibility to EWR and the nature of the support they get. So, look, I'll make it clear, my ambition about tonight is to try and get the parish council to change their support for Route E. So in order to do that, you guys are clearly going to want to understand what's changed since Brickhill Parish Council voted to support Route E that should enable you to reconsider that. So firstly, I'm going to share some slides. There's only 5 slides. I'm not going to spend ages on them. I'm not going to, oh, you've disabled screen sharing for me.
Sorry, don't worry.
I'm not going to go through all the slides that we went through on the Fuller meeting. Some of them have similar information, some are different, but there's only 5.
Just trying to work
You
out.
should be able to share, shouldn't you now?
I can now, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
So, can you all see that? Yeah, okay, good. Mm-hmm. So firstly, oh, I'm on the wrong screen now. Firstly, look, the consultation was flawed. It gave one set of cost information prior to the consultation, and someone's scribbling on my screen, Karina Smith. It gave one set of consultation prior to one set of figures prior to the consultation, which showed Route E as being the most expensive, and then another set of figures post consultation without actually changing these. So that the impact of that was to move Route E from being the most expensive to the second.
Mike, sorry to interrupt you. I'm going to have to ask whoever's doing that scribbling, please stop. That's not fair to Mike. It's not appropriate. So move from being the most expensive to the second cheapest. That in itself isn't, I think, where the problem is. Where I think the problem is the scale of the increase in costs of the other 4 routes. So between 50% and 80%, that is massive.
So that either means there was incompetence at the start prior to the consultation, or there's been reverse engineering. I don't know which it is, but one way or another, that bridge needs to be built between the first set of figures and the second set of figures, and that change was never communicated during the consultation process. So any consultees got no capability to be able to respond to that. The other piece is that communication with residents, and look, there many people, I can't count how many, have said they never received a card, they never received any notification. We all know there was stuff in the press, but we also know that local press is on the demise, which I think is a tragedy, because it means that councils, you know, struggle to communicate stuff because the local press isn't there. But it also means that councils aren't held to account because the local press isn't there. So look, you know, people keep saying, well, if you're just waking up to it, it's your fault. Well, actually, no. If lots of people are only just waking up to it, what that means is that it wasn't adequately communicated. It wasn't adequately consulted with. I mean, to say anything else is just daft. So to move on. So look, this is the economic case for Bedford. So Bedford Borough Council's input has been, my opinion, suspect. I mean, they paid money to use a consultancy to basically validate the answer that they gave the consultancy. They didn't use that consultancy to deliver an even-handed piece of analysis on all the routes as to which would be best. They told them that it had to be a northern route, and then told them to cost optimize that route. They didn't give them the opportunity to cost optimize the southern routes. They didn't give them the opportunity to propose an alternative solution like an in-out solution in the south. They basically gave them a preordained answer and told them to get on with it. They used taxpayers' money to do that. Our money that we pay to the government in one way, shape or form was used to do that. And that I just find remarkable that the Borough Council doesn't see that that's not even-handed. Also, if we look at these numbers on here, the borough consistently quotes this 6 million that's down here, this 6 million number, a 12% better off by using a route that goes through and uses one of the northern routes as being a massive bonus. It's not. When you look at the GVA, total GVA for Bedford Borough, the total GVA is 4.8 billion. That represents just 0.13% of GVA per annum increase. So that's £36 per person per year extra contribution to the economy as a result of having a northern route. That's not money in people's pockets. That's what they contribute to the economy. I bet if I asked most of the residents of Brickhill, would you rather contribute £36 to the economy and have a railway in your backyard, or would you rather not have the railway in your backyard? I suspect I know what the answer would be. The Borough Council also claims consistently to have had no influence on it. They hold their hands up. They did it last night. The decision was made by East West Rail. We're just a consultee. Well, I'm just a consultee. I don't get to spend thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money on a consultant to tell me that the answer's right, that I give to the consultant. It's a ridiculously disingenuous argument. The council also has a seat on the East West Rail Consortium Delivery Board. The mayor is also part of the English Economic Heartlands Transport Forum. Also SEMLEP, both of which also have a seat on the East West Rail boards. To say that there is no influence from Bedford Borough Council is just nuts, because there clearly is. Also, I don't think it's been communicated to the Bedford people just how much disruption there'll be. I think it's been massively oversold. there will be years and years and years of roadworks, of redevelopment works, of congestion, of traffic, of reworking in order to make this work. And the council said virtually nothing about any of that. Also, and I think this is probably one of the worst points, is the council's reneged on the Green Infrastructure Plan of 2009, which expressly called out the land between Brickhill and Clapham as protected from development. It was one of the first reports that was published under the current mayor's reign, if that's the right word. So what's to say that the plans that have been issued recently won't be reneged upon just at the will of the mayor because it suits them at the time? Next point is what wasn't clear and is still not really discussed is the role of freight. I mean, the environmental impact of this is ridiculous, but the role of freight has been largely ignored. There was little to no mention of freight in the consultation. There's little to no mention of diesel in the consultation. It was so conspicuous by its absence, was it, in the consultation, that Brickhill Parish Council had to ask East West Rail if they were including it in their business case. To suggest that they've not included a major revenue stream in the business case is utterly bonkers. If they haven't, then that in itself must be incompetent. Also,
Mike, for me, hang on a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting a lot of it's breaking up a lot for me. Is everyone else able to hear Mike okay, or is other people having problems? If you could let me know in the chat window.
you can hear me okay, can you? I think it might be you, Mark, because you broke up when you spoke then. Sue, I can see you. Can you give me the thumbs up if you can hear me okay?
Carry on, please.
Okay, thank you. The role of freight, where were we? Yeah, okay, so it's also, the mayor is the chair of the Strategic Transport Forum for England Economics Heartland. They published a report, and here he is in this photograph, proudly holding up his report in October 2020. He's actually doing a seminar tomorrow at 11 o'clock if anyone's interested on this, sorry, a webinar, not a seminar. And in that, it explicitly says that East West Rail will be fit for freight. It talks about the volume of freight. It's saying it will be fit for 12 trains a day and could be fit for up to 20 freight trains a day. It talks about the gauge of the loading gauge on the track that will be deployed as being W12. This is something I've learned about railways. Apparently that's the maximum that's allowed in the UK, and therefore it can take maximum freight trains. They do, of course, say that that's dependent on demand. So they talk about links from Southampton and to Felixstowe in order to satisfy the demand. Now, Network Rail, in their 2017 freight report, forecasts that freight will increase on a rate of 3% per year. So by the time this part of the railway goes live in 2030, as the current prediction is, that will mean 35% more freight traffic on the UK railways. Also, Network Rail, because of that increase and the increase in demand that's forecast through free ports and the increase in things like online shopping, they're also driving for each train to be the maximum that's allowed in the UK. Each and every train, the maximum that's allowed in the UK of 775 metres. These are diesel trains. So when East West Rail are being asked about electrification, they basically give very vague answers. There is no intention to electrify this train. If there were, they would be doing that on the piece of track that they're currently constructing, and they're not. There is no electrification. It would be daft to electrify between here and Cambridge, but not between here and Oxford. They will be diesel. There is no other option. Last night, Councillor Venn said that he was surprised to learn that it was a surprise that rail lines use freight. And I actually agree with what he was saying. The problem for me is, why are EWR basically evading the subject then? And why haven't Bedford Borough Council and this parish council held them to account on that as a concerned consultee for the matter, they should be doing that. Where are we? Look, we all know that if they use Bedford Midland Station, I mean, it will probably be quicker to drive to Cambridge from here anyway than it would to drive to the station and get a train. So, and it's probably going to be more expensive anyway. So it's largely useless because the congestion around that part of the town is bonkers. And the other thing is, I don't understand how the Borough Council can contest the extension of the building of the private school on the basis that it will increase traffic, but then suggest that actually increasing traffic to the station's okay. It just seems inconsistent to me. So next, so what wasn't known before was the potential proximity to Brickhill. Now, I was accused of hyperbole and spreading disinformation at the meeting on the 4th of February, and I was told it was going through Clapham. And Councillor Royden, I admit it, I got it wrong. I did say that the map was showing that the closest point that it could come, according to the maps issued by EWR, was 100 metres from where I sit. Actually, that's more like 50 metres from where I sit. So I did get it wrong. And actually, the map shows that it comes to where it passes Angelita Court, an old people's home. It could potentially be as close as 50 metres. Sorry, as close as 30 metres. So it's nuts. This map actually shows work from a qualified rail engineer, chartered engineer, with 40 years' experience of doing railway designs. Incidentally, the consultants that Bedford Borough Council use specialise in railways, is true, but they specialise in signalling and telecoms. And the consultants they backed it off to do also specialise in railways, but they specialise in railway asset management. Those three disciplines are very, very different from the civil engineering and engineering designs required to build railways. So look, this map shows that actually, in order to get across the railway in the hilliest part of the surrounding, the Bedford surrounding areas, to get the railway across the countryside, you're going to need cut-ins up to 30 metres deep and up to 95 metres wide. So, you know, this is no small undertaking, and it happens to cut right across that green infrastructure belt that was identified in the Mayor's report of 2009. So look, there are alternatives. There's the three alternatives that were put forward in the consultation. A southern route along an existing travel corridor with less curves, with less gradients, and a shorter route, all of which make it more environmentally friendly, particularly for the up to 20 diesel freight trains a day. And that gives them the option to bypass the town for the freight trains. And I know the Greens tried to tell us last night that that you can't hear trains, but in my experience, they're actually pretty noisy things. And they're even more noisy when you get out into the countryside where it's quiet. And I'm going to tell you an anecdotal story this morning that sounds like I'm making it up, but genuinely I'm not. I was feeling pretty crap about what happened last night because I'm ashamed of what's happening at our Borough Council right now. I'm proud of Bedford and always have been, and I just struggle to understand what is going on there. So I was lying in bed and my wife was getting ready and she'd opened the window to let some air in the room, and I heard the train horn from here, from the train that's over the other side of the A6. It just sounded like the mayor blowing a raspberry at me. So trains make noise, they do. To suggest they don't is a beggar's belief. And look, if the mayor really wants Bedford Station served, it can be served with an in-out passenger service with the freight bypassing the train. Apparently the argument against that is because Network Rail don't want in-out services, but they already have it at the station. Thameslink terminates, it goes in and out. Bedford to Bletchley terminates, it goes in and out. so Bedford Borough Council say, well, well, that will mean that the passenger trains bypass Bedford, but the trains on the Midland Main Line bypass Bedford now, and that goes through Bedford. The problem isn't that we haven't got a station and the lines don't go there. The problem is Bedford is not attractive. They are trying, by doing this, they are trying to address the symptom, not the cause. And by turning it into having a freight interchange there, we'll make it into Cricklewood, which I'm sure none of us want. So having access on the southern route allows, and in-out access into Bedford Midland would allow the Bedford Borough Council to achieve their 0.13% minuscule GVA increase. It would allow them to deliver a more environmentally friendly, less noisy diesel freight route that bypasses the town, and it would allow them to have their passenger service if Network Rail want to actually stop here. So, as I said, look, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I'm not. Oh, stop share. I'm not a politician. Heaven forbid. But the borough, the parish, and East West Rail have failed to communicate. I put my email address out on the fuller presentation, right? And I've now got people contacting me, elderly people from the villages that are in the grey area of where this line, where EWR is saying this line could go, right? And they're scared they're going to lose their homes. The communication has been awful. We have to find a way to fix that, not just for this issue, but for other issues. I mean, I don't know what the council thinks about what's happening to things like the local press, because genuinely these people didn't know about it, and they're scared. And to ignore that and to blow it off with placations is all right for me. I can look after myself. I'm big and ugly, but those people can't. And I tell you what, I find it genuinely upsetting that the councillors blow this off as something that shouldn't be dealt with. It's disgusting. So, in the light of the information that's emerged since this consultation, I'd like the parish councillors to reconsider supporting Route E. It's clearly not consistent with your primary role as defined by government to represent your ward or division and the people who live in it. You're going to hear from people from across the Brickhill Parish that they are not in favour of Route E. And I have an expectation that you won't let your residents down, you won't let their views go unheard, and you will act on them, regardless of whether you support the Mayor's plans, regardless of whether you think it benefits the borough. If you think it benefits the borough, fine, vote it at a borough level and do what you have to. I think you're wrong, but do it. But at parish level, it does not benefit the parish of Brickhill. If you want to be able to look yourself in the eyes, you should vote the right way. That's all I've got to say. Thanks.
Mike, thank you very much indeed. That's great. Going to move on. I see Rachel McCarthy is on possibly twice. So Rachel, I'm going to try and unmute you. Hopefully you will see a little prompt. I think you're off. Yeah, you're off mute now, Rachel. So, can you just confirm, please, that you are a Brickhill resident? Oh, yeah. Rachel, can you speak? You're in twice at the minute, I think. So possibly you're Rachel and you're Rachel McCarthy as well. I'm looking to unmute your. Rachel, I can't hear you at all. Okay. I'm really sorry, Rachel. This is not working. I don't know why not. I'm not sure. I know. We're going to move on if that's okay. So I'm going to move on to ask Paula Brazier to speak. So Paul, I'm just going to try and find you and then we'll bring you in. Rachel, I just apologise. I'm not sure what the issues are. So Paula, I'm just clicking on now to unmute you. If you could like to please respond to that. Unclick. Yep. I think.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Paula, can you just
Thank you.
confirm you are a Brickhill resident? Brickhill Parish?
Yes, I've lived in the parish for nearly 10 years, so yes, in Woodlands.
Thank you.
So thank you for the opportunity of speaking to the Borough Council and to the local residents of Brickhill this evening. I'm just going to go back at the start of this meeting, Mark, you kind of outlined from your perspective what has happened. I just thought for the residents joining us this evening that perhaps this is the first time they've heard of this, I would give my version of what I think has happened. The minutes of the meeting from the 7th of March back in 2019, where, as you rightly say, Councillor Bayliss reported in item 6 that the East-West Rail was a concern from the residents of Woodlands Park and wider Brickhill Parish, where he said that the proposals appeared to pass close to Brickhill and cut across the northern boundary of the country park. A recent invitation, he said, for councillors to go to a meeting with East-West Rail was given just a few days' notice, which he said was insufficient to guarantee an appropriate attendance. Councillor Bayliss went on to say it was important that the voices of the residents of Brickhill, those that are most affected by the proposed routes, are heard clearly. So that was in item 6. Later in the same meeting, point 11 of the agenda, which was hosted as to consider a proposal that the Parish Council write to support an interchange at Bedford Midland as part of the East-West consultation. That was all the public had to go by. So earlier on, you said that you didn't feel that there was many people attending that public meeting, and I would link to what Mike has already said. How aware were we that on the night you were, as a parish council, going to condemn Brickhill to this eastern route, north route, route E? I think the statement on the agenda was very ambiguous and was very unclear to the residents. Given what Councillor Bayliss had said in his report earlier in the same meeting, my question would be, why was there no delay in the decision making of the Parish Council so that point 6 could actually be actioned? Councillor Fitzpatrick yourself said at the same meeting that the consultation was very general, and I quote from the YouTube clip, "How does anyone know the truth?" was what you said, and that it was very difficult to visualise the maps that had been produced. The maps that Mike has produced bring it home. These have been produced in the last few weeks. They were never available for the residents of Brickhill at the time. Councillor Bayliss went on to say that he had received a personal response to questions that he had posed, and this included confirmation that the rail would have 24-hour freight. Other councillors at this same meeting said on that video that they believed that it was for only passengers. That was the understanding of our parish councillors in the meeting where this decision was made. Councillor Fitzpatrick went on to say that there was recognition that there was an almighty structure that was going to be needed around Clapham to get up the hill. It was recognised that it would be visually intrusive and noisy. There was no understanding of how these trains would be powered. There was some discussion about electrification and diesel, and that diesel would be required to, and I quote, power up the trains to get up the hill, with the connotation of the decibels that would there follow. At the same meeting, Councillor Fitzpatrick offered to the Parish Council that we could put some formal questions to East-West Rail, that we could put a statement of views and our preferences. Councillor Fitzpatrick also went on to say that he was very ambivalent about pushing this onto our doorstep, and I thank him for those comments. However, Councillor Royden proposed a northern route, D or E, which was very quickly seconded by Councillor Johns at that meeting. So in an 8-minute discussion at the Parish Council meeting, where 1/3 of our parish councillors were visibly busy on electronic devices and not actively engaged in the vote condemned us to this monstrosity. Given the concerns raised in this meeting by Councillor Bayliss and Fitzpatrick, and the lack of clarity by others around freight and engine power sources, with the opportunity to have found out more and consult with the parish in more detail, as suggested at point 6 in that meeting, why was the vote taken on that evening? What was the urgency? Why did the parish council not hold an extraordinary meeting at that time to share the information that the parish council was indeed intending to support a northern route before that vote was taken? It was not clear to the parishioners of Brickhill that the parish council were siding with Route D or E. What mandate did the councillors have from the parishioners that they represent in Brickhill to condemn the parish to this level of environmental destruction? In just over 3 weeks, over 1,600 signatures have been collected to ask for Route E to be reviewed. The consultation on 5 routes was flawed. The information from Councillor Fitzpatrick, in his own words, were very hard to visualise. How does anybody know the truth with the maps that were produced? The costs at the time that Mike has shared with us this evening showed that Route E was the most expensive and the longest route during that consultation, but then suddenly changed to make it the cheapest after the public consultation had ended. If Route E had been the cheapest at the time of the public consultation, then it could be argued that the responses might have been very different. East West Rail have not made public the responses to 5 routes. How many people were actually in favour of all 5 of A to E? We don't know yet. This was never part of the statutory consultation and it was flawed. I am a resident of the parish. I feel my concerns have been brushed aside. And in fact, one parish councillor labelled myself and others as NIMBYs at the recent parish council meeting on the 4th of February. Such was the disdain showed toward us. I did complete the consultation on the railway. I did not vote for Route E. And had I been aware that my parish council were intending to support the northern route before that vote, I would have exercised my democratic right and voiced my concerns on that night. The agenda item was unclear to me and many other members of the public. The actions of the parish council, in my opinion, have been nothing short of negligent in terms of representing what is best for this parish. At the Borough Council meeting last night, Councillor Moon, Woodlands Borough Councillor, and Councillor Martin Moran-Barrett, Woodlands Borough Council, both argued for more and further consultation. But Brickhill was let down again. Councillor Royden, Parish Councillor for Brickhill North, as well as being the Liberal Democratic Borough Portfolio for Transport and Environment, and Councillor Ryder, who is also a Brickhill Parish Councillor and Borough Councillor, voted with the Lib Dem majority and ignored the 1,600 strong petition and the very clear dismay that was shown to the parish councillor on the 4th of February. They voted in favour of their party, not what was in favour of our parish. I would like the parish council to outline to us, as your parishioners, how you will assure us that our best interests will be at the heart of your decision making going forwards. And how will the parish council commit to work with the Bedford Borough Council to find alternatives that do not carve up North Bedfordshire? As Mike has shown this evening, there is other ways that do not decimate the countryside. Thank you very much.
Paula, thank you very much indeed for that. And thank you. I'm not clear whether Rachel is still.
Mark, I've seen Rachel. I've let Rachel back in.
Yeah.
So she's in, and I've sent her a chat message saying she's in twice. Could she remove one, and could she confirm she's ready to speak
Okay.
after Paula?
No response.
So I'm waiting to see if she comes back. She's not come back yet.
Okay.
Have you asked her to unmute? I think you haven't.
Yeah, I have. I've done that
Can I
again.
remove her with one of them? I'll remove the red.
No need to do that. Sue.
Okay.
If Rachel can speak, she can speak now on her Rachel McCarthy.
Okay.
But Rachel, please speak.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi.
Thank you.
I actually can't say anything more than Paula said. Paula's actually covered most of the points I was actually going to raise. It's very simple for me. I don't think, I respect our parish council. I think you do a great job for all sorts of reasons, but I think you genuinely need to understand you are not representing your parish right now. I'm very lucky because I moved into the parish nearly 12 years ago now, and I moved into the parish as a pregnant lady, so I have lots of the contacts as you have when you have a small child, and you work through that, and you have your schools and your brownies and all sorts of things. So at the moment I need you to know that I am actually self-isolating in Southern Ireland because I have a close member of the family who's died, and we're having a funeral, and I feel so passionate about this that I just needed to speak tonight despite being in a distant location. I've spent this week contacting everyone I can think of to help not Brickhill Parish Council, but Bedford Borough Council understand that this is not the right decision for so many reasons. I've spoken to over 100 members of the Brickhill community in the last 2 days. Not one of them support this decision. So I just need you genuinely to understand you're not representing our wishes. And I really need you to sit back and have a debate between yourselves, because that is your right, to understand why you've come to this decision and actually rethink it, because it's not the right thing for our borough. That's all I have to say.
Well, Rachel, thank you very much indeed. I'm very sorry about your loss.
That's very kind. Thank you.
We've got the demented turkey burgers waiting to come in. I'm not sure who that generally is, but I will admit them. I'm going to move on now to Sandra Gardner. Sandra, if you are here. See you now, so I'm just going to click on the unmute button, so hopefully you can respond to that. Sandra, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, good evening, and thank you for this opportunity to address the Parish Council this evening.
Great. Can you just confirm you live in Brickhill, please?
Yes, sorry, yes. Sandra Gardner, I live on Windrush Avenue.
Lovely. Fire away then, please, Sandra.
I've been a Brickhill resident for nearly 50 years, and I was very, very shocked to learn only in the last few weeks that the East-West Rail will be coming through my parish. And I'm equally surprised that we've had no consultation from the Parish Council on this major change to our local environment. And I'm not alone in this. I've been speaking to lots of other people in the parish since the information has come to light. And what struck me is that we all chose Brickhill to live and to raise our families because it's a very quiet, rural and unpolluted area, which was reflected in the higher house prices. I just want to know why the Parish Council is supporting the decimation of our green areas, which was going to result in more visual, noise, pollution in one of the few remaining rural areas in Bedford. And I would also like to ask, because I'm sure many other residents of Brickhill would, to know why the Parish Council has not informed all their residents of their decision to support this route through our parish. And if you did make any attempt, why did you not make your communications land more effectively with the residents? And I believe that it's the responsibility of a parish council to discharge their powers and duties which have an impact on the community they serve. Therefore, how can the council justify supporting the mayor's position of a route through Bedford Midland Station, which meant that either Route D or Route E, and above the view of the residents, which would not be to support it? And if obviously this is a very, very major issue for our residents, why is the item only been on the parish council agenda a few times? In fact, twice since 2017. This is the largest infrastructure project to impact Brickhill in recent times, so surely it merits more attention from the councillors. Thank you very much.
Okay, Sandra, thank you very much indeed for that. Appreciate your time. I'm going to move on now to Mike Quickenden. Mike, I'm going to find you. Hopefully it should be straightforward. Yep, Mike, I'm just going to click on the unmute now. Hopefully, Mike, can you see a prompt to unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, certainly can.
Right.
We can see you and we can hear you.
Right, I'm Mike Quickenden. I'm a resident of Brickhill for the last 55 years. I was born in Bedford, so I'm one of the only Bedfordians, true Bedfordians you'll probably meet. I went to the consultation in Sandy in March 2019, at which time I was horrified to see a route which, when examined, passed up through Carriage Drive. It was hard to realise, given the scale of the maps that we were shown. This is an area which my wife and I have enjoyed walking through almost daily, especially through these 2 lockdown periods. My response at that time in 2019 was to write to Charles Royden, to express my feelings and observe that I suspected very few of his parishioners were aware of the situation. I was effectively asking him to act quickly to inform them before the consultation closed. Nothing happened, as far as I am aware. Certainly, none of our neighbours knew anything about it. Certainly, some friends that who live in Brickhill, who we were on the phone to today, knew nothing as of now. I had a reply from Charles, which I requested permission to share. The feeling that I had after the first response was that route DE was too expensive, no need to worry. How wrong could I be? Charles has sent me this week a modified answer, which he was happy for me to share. Before I get to that, one of the questions I asked was in the original email was whether he personally shared my dismay with Route E. I did not get a direct answer to that question. Let's go and quote from his new reply. There are mixed views about whether the line should go north in the corridor, which they have suggested. There have also been requests for the train to enter and leave Bedford from the south. Of course, a southern route, which misses Bedford, it doesn't have to, is not without its own issues, not least the impact upon the RSPB at Sandy. And then he says, my own preference, this is our mayor, is to see the route, deputy mayor, taken in the far north of the corridor towards Twin Woods, away from residential areas of Brickhill. I challenged him on this today and asked for a definition of this route, particularly if it still crosses Carriage Drive. He did not know. One of the issues with the consultation was that we had to work with very low detail maps. I've now studied the OS map, and as far as I can see, there is only one option to come off the rail line north of where they are proposing, and that comes off just south of the junction on Paula Radcliffe Way, south of Browns Wood, into Twins Wood. It is my opinion that all routes crossing Carriage Drive are unacceptable. And I have to say, even this route I've been referring to going farther north is not the ideal route. I want to step back to the original proposals A to E. I've only just realised that none of the southern routes went in and back out of Bedford Station. So why has this not been costed and evaluated thoroughly when Charles says in his letter to me, there have also been requests for train to enter and leave Bedford from the south? So I would point out that while Charles favoured a route coming into Bedford, what he did not state is it was the council's decision at the time of the consultation to push for route E. The fact that the council then engaged and pressured their own engineers to override the cost estimates to the original presentation in order to get their own way is a disgrace and is certainly not democratic. A re-evaluation of all the options, including an in-out option, is required. In conclusion, I'm still of the opinion that the original consultation was not adequate, in that not all options were considered and the public consultation was a disgrace. I would think the majority of the people from North Bedford had no idea that there were opinions on the table that they should have been aware of, and therefore they took no interest in the consultation. In my view, the whole issue should be put back on the table. Finally, I'm appalled that the council can justify the destruction of the countryside in a huge arc from north to east around the edge of our town compared to the considerably less damage that will be done on a southern route near to the town. I think the Brickhill parishioners should make it quite clear to our councillors, Charles Royden and Wendy Ryder, that no route which crosses Carriage Drive is acceptable to us, and that they should respect and push for their electorate's view against their party allegiance. I also note that neither of them spoke in the council debate yesterday. Thank you.
Mike, thank you very much indeed for that. Going to just double check now. Alan Curtis, I know you wrote in, you have written in today. I wasn't quite sure, we weren't sure whether you wanted to speak or not. I'm going to unmute you just in case you do.
Yeah, yes, Mark, I wouldn't mind. And I do appreciate that the questions I sent you today, you probably won't be able to answer until you maybe speak to some of your colleagues. I think a great deal of what's been said tonight is probably covered anyway by the questions I've sent. There are some things, though, that are quite disturbing. Not least of all, the fact that at the meeting on the 7th of March 2019, the Parish Council, which is actually recorded and online on YouTube for people to see, Councillor Royden is seen in that meeting actually stating that he thinks this whole scheme is pie in the sky, which is quite interesting that that is the very same night that the decision to vote and the route E was the proposed route, again by Councillor Royden. A good point mentioned by somebody just now that many of the council members at the time were either looking at their phones, having a chat, and quite frankly, it just looked like when the vote went through, people raised their hands because other people did. It almost looked like people realised they needed to do something. So that's one point I would make, and quite frankly, I was pretty disgusted when I saw that YouTube video. The other point I would make for tonight is the fact that many of the documents online refer to this zero carbon railway. I'm really confused that when we read the reams and reams of available information online, there seems to be some bizarre belief that you can build a railway, run diesel trains on it, and haul freight, and the whole thing is zero carbon. Now, the documents that are online must have been available for people to have read before that vote was taken, because they've been there a long, long time. So the electrification discussion was had and done. And what I'm suggesting tonight is that when that vote was taken back in March 2019, that it was rushed. It didn't need to be taken that night. And people just responded to a part of the meeting that they felt they needed to make a decision at. And I just do not understand that. I really do not. And I think reading the messages that are coming up here in the chat room, nobody else seems to be able to understand why you felt it necessary to rush a decision and take a vote that night. And with regards to people being notified, you know, the worst communication in the world is sending everybody a message that nobody read it or understood it. And maybe the parish council should have just taken a few moments to get back and ask people, did they get it? And did they understand it? And what do they think about it? You can't just do these things in a rush. So as a Woodlands Park resident and somebody who lives just 5 doors away from Angelita Court, you can imagine seeing the information that Mike showed tonight with specific routes detailed on the map. I'm quite horrified. And I sincerely hope that there are enough people interested in this for us to give you guys a real run for your money, because I think, quite frankly, you've made a grave mistake. I really do. And that's it for tonight. And I hope nothing I've said comes across as being rude, but quite frankly, I think the actions are quite appalling. Thank you.
Alan, thank you very much indeed. I will try and reply to your email. Well, I need to work through the questions. Now, the only other person I've got listed down as a potential speaker is Mel Wright. Mel, I've got notes saying that you may want to speak near the end of the meeting. I mean, we're now at 8:42, so we've been.
Mark, could I just interrupt? Sam Camyar's got his hand up. He's on screen 7-8 of mine. I don't know if he wants to speak.
I've got to say, Sam, are you a Brickhill resident? That's my question for Sam. No, Adam is. Apologies.
He's put his hand down again now, so perhaps he doesn't want to speak.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Sam. We need to restrict this to Brickhill residents. It is for them to speak to us tonight.
Okay.
What I'm saying is you're welcome to speak to me any other time, or any other councillors any other time, but tonight this is for Brickhill residents to speak. Okay. Okay, Mel, are you there? Do you want to speak now? I'll just unmute you in case you do.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Fantastic, thank you. I guess absolutely to mirror what Mike, Paula, Rachel, Alan, there are just no words. It's come as a shock. The residents who were in Woodlands Park at the time, yes, we got a leaflet. I vaguely remember a postcard. I did return the postcard saying no, and I can only guess that due to the lack of consultation and information that the council had at that time, based on the limited knowledge that you had, based on the cost factors that looked like, and we've seen some evidence from some of the councillors, that Route E is probably the most unlikely one to be taken. I can't ask a question in the meeting. I've been told I can't ask a question, but I would like for the councillors to reconsider, and I think everyone's asked for the same, that if you had the information that you had available today, would you still be making the same decision? And most importantly, what is the council going to do to get us out of this? And if we can't get out of it and have this really deep sinking feeling that we can't, what investment are you going to provide to this? What's happening at the moment is that local residents are obviously talking, and that's what we want. We are taking our own time, our money, our kind of hearts into this, because we now don't know what to do to get out of it. So following the meeting, I think we need clear guidance, and be honest with us. Are you going to do something or not? Because then at least we know. And I think if anything, you're going to have more of an ear and more voices behind you than what you've ever had before. But we've got to just really understand, what are we dealing with here? And really, there's nothing else for me to say that anyone else hasn't said. I just wanted to get that across. Please, please consider what you're doing next.
Oh, thank you very much indeed. Appreciate your comments. Now, we basically, as I say, it's 9:15 now. We can open up to other people in the public to speak. We've had quite a variety of comments made already, and my question is, it's a bit of a, we don't want to restrict debate, but I think I'm really hoping people, if people want to make additional comments, different comments, that's helpful. I don't think we've got any facility on this to do any sort of voting. So does anyone make any different comments? If you do, please put a message in the chat window. If anybody wants to support Route D or E, please put a message in the chat window, and we'll very happily get you on here as well to give any balance if you want to have that. No one else is indicating a wish to speak. Emma, sorry. Which Emma's that? Trouble is, there's so many little messages flying past here. It's a bit hard to pick up on all the. Would that be Emma Gibbon? Hands up from Emma Gibbon. Well done. Okay, I'm going to unmute you now. Great use of technology. That's good.
Hi, thank you. I just appreciate that you can't answer questions tonight, and I appreciate you've got a lot of valid points and sentiments and emotions to take away from tonight, but I want all of the parish councillors to do us the justice of taking one comment on board, really, for me, and that is that with so many people not aware and so many people now impassioned about the situation we find ourselves in, whether you like to hear it or not, or whether you choose to stick your heads in the sand, I do want the parish council to admit that you have, by the lack of knowledge and the passion that we now share, you have failed us. So whether your standpoint is the decision is right, your decisions at the time were well motivated, I think you need to take at least one thing away, that from everybody's views here, you have failed your parish. Thank you.
Well, okay, Emma, short and sweet. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate your comments. Do you want to put your hand down, Emma, just in case you want to come back in again later? But for the moment, would you mind just lowering your hand? Thank you. Does anyone else wish to speak? Just trying to see if there's any other hands raised or any other comments. Okay. I'm not seeing anyone else is wishing to speak on this, so there's been a lot of comments put into the chat window, some of which I could try and give some feedback on, and I think what I'd like to try and do, there's so many, I don't know where to start because there are so many messages in here. There's a hell of a lot to get through. I'm very happy to try and respond to them, but it's going to take, providing Sue, we can capture these comments. I'll very happily pass back any factual comments I can on some of the comments to residents here and those who can't attend. I think I feel as if we're going to end this section of the meeting now, unless anyone else wishes to speak. And then I'm going to suggest we have a 5-minute break, stretch legs, and then we'll come back for the councillors' part of the meeting. And I think I'm going to just mention, sorry, I'm going to say this without giving any forewarning. Is Chris Bales on the call? Chris, if you are here, or Michael, if I'm very, if you want to give your perspective on it from your involvement back then, it'd be great if you would. Sorry, I shouldn't. Should I? Well, obviously, Chris is no longer a councillor. That's why I'm sort of making the point, I suppose. Sorry to put you on the spot, Chris. Do you want to speak? And again, I just apologise for doing this to you without giving you any forewarning. Chris, you're off. You're not on mute, but I can't hear you.
Sorry, I apologise. I wasn't intending to speak. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't intending to speak today. You're quite right. I'm not a councillor. I'm still very interested in the matter. You heard from Paula's very good summation of it earlier today, or earlier in the meeting, that we didn't get an awful lot of warning. There was a hasty presentation at the beginning of January from East West Rail that was packed into the parish council meeting. I didn't have a lot of time. I did what I could. I raised it during a section that the parish council gave over to Woodlands Park specifically, and this was where I did a lot of reporting. I was utterly amazed when Mike and I were the only two to vote against. Michael Jarman Webb and myself were the only two to vote against it. Very, very bitterly disappointed. Mike and I put a leaflet together very quickly. I apologise if it didn't get the message home in the way that we hoped it would. We tried to get the message out both on this matter and Grays Hill in the same leaflet, and perhaps the lessons learned there, we don't do that. But this was very much done not as parish councillors, as neighbours. It was paid for by Mike and myself. Usually, we did our best. It is a great shame that the other councillors were not convinced that of the utter destruction that would happen to the area immediately adjacent Woodlands Park. I mean, for Michael Jarman Webb and I, it was patently obvious, especially the freight. I raised the freight query. I had some conversations with, or correspondence rather, with East West Rail. We were very, very concerned, probably more about the freight. I mean, Woodlands Park, I've lived there for 9 years. It's a fantastic area, and I remember the day we moved in. The thing that sold Woodlands Park to us was when the lady, I won't embarrass her, we all know who she is, lovely, lovely lady, was in the process of selling us the house. She said, just stop a moment and listen. What can you hear? Absolutely nothing. And that sold Woodlands Park to us. We wouldn't have bought, I don't think, if we'd have feared that there were going to be trains and freight and rail and all of that kind of thing running through. So thank you for the opportunity to speak, Mark. As a resident now, I'm no longer a parish councillor. I echo everybody else's sentiment. I hope the parish council will take this opportunity to reflect and consider the strong feeling. I mean, 80 people in a parish council meeting, we'd be lucky to get 2 members of the public for years on end. You know, it's great support, and it sends a very clear, very strong message, I feel. So thank you, Mark.
Chris, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, if no one else wishes to speak from the public, I'm going to just have a 5-minute, we'll have a 5-minute break, and then we move on to the next item on the agenda, which is for the councillors to discuss what we've listened to. Oh, sorry, are there 2 more hands up? I can't see them. Sorry, Babs. Where are they? I've got to clear my... Lynn, my apologies, Lynn. I can't see the hands. They're not being sort of presented to me. Lynn, okay, great. Lynn, can you see the prompt? Yep.
Yeah.
Hi.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
We can hear you and see you. Yeah. Far away.
Yep. You can. Yeah, go on. The question would be: what? Are the councillors going to respond to any of these requests tonight or discussions in any format whatsoever, whether it be notes to all the parishioners? And could they explain just what they believe the economic benefits to Bedford are of actually the eastern route, the northern route for the East West Railway? It's a very short question, and that's all I want to know, what they consider the economic benefits are and whether they will actually respond to any of this meeting tonight.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else wishing to speak? There was a second hand, somebody said. Again, I'm just searching for any other names. Apologies if I'm missing you. John, which John? Ah, John, apologies. John, right, so. And then we've got Aggie Lucas as
hello.
Yep, hello, John. So
yes.
So please, John, and can you just confirm you are a Brickhill resident?
Yes, I live in Curlew Crescent.
Lovely. Ah, yes, Mr. Richardson, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We had a conversation last week.
Yeah.
Right, I agree entirely with everything that's been said tonight by the last few people have been speaking. I think it's appalling that this railway is going anywhere near Brickhill and up that hill at Clapham. But I just want to bring in 2 other points. I can't understand why the EWR sections 1 and 2 have been reinstated on the old varsity line. The Bletchley to Bedford line is already running. So if they're continuing to redevelop the varsity line, why is the bit from Bedford to Sandy not taking place? Why is the old varsity line not being considered when it's been used in the first 3 sections? That's my first point. And that needs to be addressed by Bedford Borough Council, who may have ideas on why they don't want that to be used. And that needs to go to EWR. The second point I want to make is, this is not really going to be a passenger line. We talked about freight, but really, if you think about it, the government has already promised that there will be a dual carriageway from Black Cat Roundabout to Caxton Gibbet. So you will be able to go by car from junction 13 of the M1 all the way to Cambridge. And in 5 years' time, most cars will be electric. So that is going to be a fairly green route. The other thing is you can go and park at Madingley for £2.50 and have a day shopping in Cambridge. If you take the train from Bedford to Cambridge, you have to go into Bedford to start with. You've got to pay at least £9.50 to park your car. You then got to pay for your return ticket to Cambridge. You're then going to get out at either Shelford Station or the new South Cambridge Station. You've then got to get a connecting train from one of those 2 stations into Cambridge City Station. And then you're still 1.5 kilometres from the main shopping centres in Cambridge. So why will people actually want to go by train to Cambridge with that fuss and expense when they can get in their clean electric cars in 5 years' time and go by car all the way to Cambridge? It doesn't make sense that it's a passenger railway, so therefore it has to be a freight railway. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much. And there is one more hand, I believe, up, which was there a minute ago. Sorry, just hidden by something else. One moment. Nicole Hudson.
Yes, hello, good evening.
Hi, Nicole. Could you just please confirm that you live in Brickhill?
Yes, I do. I live off Tyne Crescent.
Lovely, thank you. Please fire away. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I'd just like to make the councillors aware of the impact of the environment that's going to happen. I'm very lucky. I was actually born in Reynolds and I've lived in Brickhill now for 25 years. And it's just to please reconsider and change your support for Route E. You know, there is a real need for to reconsider this route, just for the sheer the green space, the peace and quiet is. I'm very emotional and passionate about the countryside, and you know, I'm getting choked up at just the thought of it. I mean, even the hedge now has come down at Graves Hill, and I work in Thurley, so I'm having to do that route. The metal fencing is there, it's going to be put up. I understand people have to live somewhere and 165 houses are going to go there, but the noise of the train, sometimes I can hear the trains at Bedford Station from where I live, but literally I walk through the houses, across the bridge, and I'm in Ravenston. You know, it's just going to absolutely desecrate the countryside and the views. The amount of people that actually, through lockdown, it's helped them mentally and physically. And loads of people have been sitting at the top of Grays Hill, looking down, watching the sunset. It's heartbreaking. I mean, we've got skylarks, we've got badgers, we've got all the wildlife there, kestrels, buzzards, owls. I can hear owls in my garden. I live on a housing estate and I can hear owls. I've had pheasants in my garden. You know, please just reconsider. That's all I'm asking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicole. That's great. Are there any more hands up to speak? If just double checking. Okay. I think not. I'm going to make 3 comments, if I may, and then we'll have a very short break, and then we'll go to the next part of the agenda. So first of all, on the Grays Hill issue, if you like, entirely separate from the East-West Rail point. I know people are saying, well, do they know they're going to have a rowie through their back garden type of thing? But we'll happily provide you with or residents with any information we have about that development, what's happening, and what the parish council has said about it. There's some information that's been shared already. We want to make sure it's all fully shared, and we can do that as a parish council. On the Varsity line, it's one of those points. Obviously, it's a valid point. They are using the old route from Oxford across to Bletchley and then to Bedford. Why not beyond Bedford? And the answer is because in parts of that line it has been built over, especially into Sandy. So it only works to a certain degree, and beyond Sandy the line was very wiggly. So for whatever reason, East West Rail never used any route that incorporated the old track bed east of St John's Station. And I think the only other thing I think, just throw this out there, and I think, Mel, you challenged me, you challenged us as parish council to say what we're going to do for you. My feeling on that is we absolutely have to try and support residents in a sense, whatever happens. And I know, talking previously, Mike, if I may say this as well, Mike Barlow, you know, you've got one focus now. You're not interested, if you like, on what happens beyond this decision. I hope I'm correct in saying that. So you are fighting this particular proposal now. The message I took away from the Richard Fuller meeting was that his perspective was the decision's been taken. Now, I know you can argue it's never, until they really have taken that decision, it's never final, but that appears to be his argument, that the decision has been taken. So I think we need to work out, frankly, in that sort of context, what do we do, and how important our views are as a parish council. We can easily, well, I'm getting into opinions now. We can reflect your views collectively, individually, and that's a legitimate part of our job. Equally, we can choose or not choose to actually make any representations as a council, if you see what I mean. Arguably, we didn't have to make any decisions, but we chose to. What weight our decisions are given by the powers that be, I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, that's my sort of very short, it's a bit of a short summary of my, if I may, of trying to summarize some of the, or respond to some of the comments made directly. We can take all the comments that are in the chat box and we will attempt to go through them, sift through them, and see if there's any others we can give specific answers to after this meeting, if that's okay. So I'm just, Michael, I don't think I did quite misquote him. So again, I'm not trying to misquote anybody. I'm reflecting back what I thought I heard at the meeting. So what I want to do, if that's okay, is take a 5-minute break. It's 9:05 now. We're going to resume at 9:10, and then that's the next part of the agenda when the councillors can discuss this, reflect on what we've heard, and decide what they want to do. Thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate all the residents who have spoken. I understand many. Sorry, Mike, you are trying to come in, aren't you? Sorry, I can see the waving. My apologies. Hang on. Mike.
Hi, yeah, sorry, look, I just wanted to correct something there that you said. Richard actually is very clear that he believes that the consultation was flawed.
Okay.
And I've had an exchange with him since on that. We've got further plans for how to address it. And actually, one thing I wanted to mention, which probably I should have mentioned earlier, is I'm going to be responding to Richard Fuller this weekend with the collation of all the emails that I've been sent with the issues on it. So if anyone wants their points of view included in that, please can you send me the emails by close play tomorrow, because I'll be going up very early on Saturday morning to work on it. The other point is, you mentioned the developer for Grays Hill. We've been in touch with the developer for Grays Hill, Mulberry Developments. They haven't had any contact from either the borough or EWR to tell them that this is going on. And somebody asked a question about the economics. Clearly, Councillor Royden, I expect, will respond to that. But what they will tell you, if you missed the first part of what I presented earlier, what they will tell you is that a northern route will be 12% better GVA, gross value add, to the Bedford economy. What they won't tell you is that that just represents an annual uplift of 0.13%, so £36 per person in the contribution to the economy, not money in your pocket, contribution to the economy. So would you rather contribute £36 to the economy and have the railway, or would you rather not contribute the £36 to the economy? That's the decision to be made. The amount is really derisory, and I can't believe that the Bedford Borough Council keep pitching it as being a success. It's disgusting. Sorry, thank you.
Sorry, I went wrong there, didn't I? I shouldn't have sort of started talking. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry. Okay, it's now 9:08. I'm gonna have let's have a 5-minute break, stretch your legs, grab another cup of tea if you like, come back, and then we'll have that next part of the discussion. And again, I'm just going to thank everyone who has spoken so far. I do appreciate all the comments. Thank you. So 5 minutes, so 13 minutes past, if my sums are right, 9, we'll start again. Hi everyone. I think it's, yeah, I think we've just passed 5 minutes. Okay, so councillors, can we please resume? Sue, are you there?
I am, yes.
Good stuff. Thank you for that. Right, so it's open to the floor now to the councillors. If you want to speak, please indicate. I've taken a few people off mute, but I probably ought to, because of background noise, it's probably better if we try and come off individually when you want to speak. So anybody of the councillors wish to contribute? Can't see any hands being waved.
I can see Charles.
Charlie, okay. Charlie, are you off mute?
Yeah, I think so, Mark. Can you hear me?
You can, yeah. Please speak.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, I think it's probably known by most people, I hope it is, that I've always favoured the railway coming into Bedford Station. I think that's important for our town's future. I think if we're not part of the Oxford-Cambridge arc, then we lose all kinds of economic benefits from that. I think that's a view which is supported by most of the councillors. Certainly last night it was overwhelmingly supported by councillors from all different parties. It's a view which has been part of Bedford Council's policy for 25 years. It's not a secret, it's something which we've all known about. I know people have talked about it not being very well broadcast, but at the time, I don't know if you remember, but it was part of the mayoral election. It was a huge part of that, and all the candidates were in favour of a northern route at the time. And I believe that Route E is the chosen route, and I want to get the best out of that route. I wish it didn't have to be Route E. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I wish it was something like Harry Potter and Hogwarts. We had platform 9 3/4, and you could the train could come to Bedford and then disappear and not come out again till Tempsford. I think that'd be the best thing for all of us. But we have to deal with the routes which East West Rail have given us. That's the problem, and I want to get the best out of those routes to make sure that it creates the least impact upon residents in Brickhill. And I think the parish council have taken that seriously. I'm sorry if people feel that we haven't. When we're in a council meeting, we're using devices. When I'm doing that here tonight. Often we're communicating with people, we're making notes. It's not that people aren't paying attention. And I know that we have done our best over the time. I was quoted as saying it was pie in the sky. I did probably use that expression at the time about the railway. I probably thought I would never live to see it. I know how long it takes to put a couple of mini roundabouts in Goldington Road. So to build a railway in 10 years of this magnitude is quite spectacular. And I do hope that I do live to see it. I'm not. It's not something I enjoy from a higher place. So it has overwhelming support from all the parties across the council, including the Green Party, who are very concerned about the environmental impacts, as we all are. We can't order a new consultation. The MP might be able to get a new consultation if he talks to his minister, but that's not something which we can do, because it affects the whole of a line which has been decided by EWR. In terms of the council lobbying for this route, well, yeah, the council has lobbied because that's the policy of the council, to have the trains coming into Bedford Station. It always has been. It's in the local plan. I think every councillor bar one voted for the local plan. And that's why the councillors voted for it last night, including the leader of the Conservative Party themselves. Now, I've looked at the document by East West Rail, and this is part of the problem. It's not a council document. It's a East West Rail document that covers a long stretch of railway. Bedford's just a part of it. And Grant Shapps has said it's the fastest route, it's the cheapest route, it's the route with least environmental impact. in terms of that, we keep hearing about diesel trains. We can only believe what they tell us, that they're telling us that it's going to be a net zero carbon railway. And Baroness Beer said in Parliament just, I think last week, that they are looking at full electrification or partial electrification using battery electric hybrid rolling stock or hydrogen traction. Now, you know, the government might be lying, I don't know, but that we have to take them at their word. This is what they are planning for that railway. So, God willing, it won't be diesel trains running on that track. That's one of the things that councillors voted for last night, was the fact that we are going to lobby to get the best we can out of this deal that's been put to us. In relation to the Varsity line, I think you made that comment, Mark, that it's been built over. But my main concern is that a lot of the things that we're talking about in terms of cheapest, fastest, all that kind of stuff, that's not a council decision. That's something that East West Rail have done, as they've looked over the whole length of that line, and they've looked at you know, the economic benefits of this serving northern Cambridge and the villages there. So it's not to do with Bedford solely. It's to do with a much bigger impact in terms of financial revenues, which will be gained for this railway over a period of time. Now, I didn't want this meeting to be held without someone from East West Rail being present, and I did ask for that at the last meeting. I think that they should be here to answer the questions about, you know, what kind of trains they're going to use, or whether it's going to be, whether it is the fastest. I mean, they need to explain how they've come up with their sums, because I don't build railways. I have no knowledge of how expensive it's going to be to put a bridge over a floodplain, what have you. So in terms of voting tonight, my vote would be to have a meeting at which East West Rail come to us and explain exactly what they intend to do on this route. I'm sorry if I haven't answered any other questions that people have asked. I've tried to be honest and open with everybody. I absolutely agree with Mike. That's what I said at the beginning, that I favoured the trains coming into Bedford. If it could have been in and out on a southern route, which worked and kept everybody happy, that's fine. But the problem is, this railway covers a long distance, and when we say that it's going to impact upon the northern area of Brickhill, which it is, it's going to affect somebody somewhere. That's the problem. And I know that I said to Mike right at the very beginning, the problem is this, the southern routes would impact the RSPB at Sandy, and that's always been a concern for many people, I know. But when we've looked at this report, which has been produced, and we've put it on our website, brickillfirst.com, the report that's come back from East West Rail, it says it's got the least environmental impact, and that's why the Forestry Commission has endorsed it, because of the other routes went through ancient woodland and stuff like that. So, but I think East West Rail should be the one to explain that, because all I'm doing is reading their documents, because that's all that we have to go on, Mark.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Okay, right, okay. I think got Catherine indicated, Catherine Ward. Do you want to speak, please, Catherine?
Hi, evening, and thank you everyone for joining us. I just need to get clarification for a couple of things in terms of what we as a parish council can do. So I don't know if Sue can maybe answer this, because some of the things that we are being asked to do, I don't know if we could do as the parish council. So can we legally do a judicial review as a parish council is one of my first questions. The second question is that in terms of consultation and what we did, and if it was limiting, if we did another one, what impact would that consultation be, and who would we be consulting, and who would we be sending the consultation to? So that would be my second question. And thirdly, I am open to have continuous discussion and to get more educated on this, because it is an area that I'm not an expert in, and I always pick up in areas where I'm an expert in, but I'm happy to, because I would live 3 roads from the new train line. So for me, yes, it is NIMBYism, that's not in my backyard because it will affect me. But I just ask those questions, and then to have, to be able to do that. Yes, and I'm happy to reverse my support, but what would the impact of me reversing my support be? Because I'd like to do that. So I'm open to a democratic process and the debate, because at the time we didn't have a lot of backing from them, you know, from the local residents, and most probably because we didn't have enough information to tell you, and we told you what we knew, and the residents, when you saw what we had, this is what we had. So we can go forward from this and look at what is, you know, the new recourse we can take as a parish council. So I am open to finding out, you know, what exactly can we do within our power as parish councillors, and what we can do to change that.
Catherine, thank you very much. Any of the other councillors wish to speak? If so, please will you indicate? I'm just, again, slightly hampered by the screen.
Alistair's waving his hand, or he was.
Yeah, sorry, I'll wave my hand there, Mark. I'm happy to speak.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. Please carry on.
Yeah, thank you for everybody to turn up this evening. It's great to see some engagement from everybody. Like most people, I'm trying to self-educate myself on the mysteries of railways. And some of the things I'm thinking about really do echo some of the thoughts around that we've already heard, but also I think maybe go a little bit further. I think if I could just run through a few points that I've been making. In terms of the costs of the different routes, I think that's pretty much, I was going to say a bit of an academic exercise, because the costs vary from £2.5 to £3 billion, right? So in other words, that's just a number. And given the ability, or rather lack of ability, for this country to develop rail infrastructure projects at anything like budget, forget your 3 billion, it's going to be 6 billion at least, right? If anybody wants to have a feel about that, okay, just have a look at HS2 costs or Crossrail. The number that they come up with for costs is a number that they think they can get away with, and then once the project is started, the costs just escalate forever, right? So that's future taxpayers on the hook, first of all. Secondly, the timescale for 2030, Oxford to Cambridge, believe me, I'm not a gambling man, but I put solid money on that never happening, right? They haven't put a shovel in the ground between Bedford and Cambridge. And in fact, the Marston Vale line, which needs massive, massive upgrades to deal with the trains, is not funded either. So we've got a long way to go on getting anywhere near actually starting this project. In terms of the routes, all of the routes are massively environmentally damaging, right? There's no good route. So it would be great if there was, but there isn't. And in terms of the emissions that we're talking about, people talk about emissions, and I know I did hear the comments from the Green councillors at the full council meeting last night. The carbon emissions of the building this railway will never be recouped. Never. Not in a million years, okay? So we can forget all that. So the costs are high, the timescales are indefinite, the route is environmentally damaging, the emissions are out of control or will be. And the benefit, well, what is that? You know, it's very hard to figure out exactly where the benefit goes. And one thing's for sure, there is no benefit to Bedford for having freight just rumbling through morning, noon and night, or mainly in the night. I think in terms of the southern routes that have been talked about, it seemed pretty clear that the borough councillors were prioritising the Wixham station on the Midland Main Line over and above any southern route either. So I think they're certainly focusing on that issue more than what might happen in Brickhill. So really, there's a couple, you know, there's a lot of things here, and you're probably getting the gist. I'm pretty negative on it. I think the freight one was quite an interesting one, because I have been paying attention to this over the years on and off, to be fair. And I hadn't really either thought or heard anybody really talking about freight. And this is really something that has come up recently, at least to my knowledge, although people might say it's been buried in a document somewhere, but I haven't seen it. So I think that's a new issue, really, certainly for me. And some of the, just to pick back on the idea of passenger transport, some of the councillors last night were saying they were promised a 100-mile-an-hour railway. Well, it's not going to travel at 100 miles an hour between Bedford Midland and Tempsford, where it's going to stop again, and 100 miles an hour between there and Camborne, where it's going to stop again, and 100 miles an hour between there and Cambridge. So really, I think that there's a lot of really very kind of non-specific information floating around about what we're actually going to get. My fear really is that there's going to be a huge infrastructure put in, which actually might not be used that much at all. So we're going to get all the aggravation of the build and the cost without actually really seeing a benefit. You know, one thing that you can certainly guarantee is that Tempsford and Camborne are going to be massively expanded. There's going to be many thousands of houses built in those areas, and that's part of the cost justification for the project. So I'm really, in terms of a Brickhill issue, I'm really struggling to see where the benefit is and exactly what we're going to get out of it. And I just see it's another project, an infrastructure project, which is going to go on forever, cost basically unlimited money, because these things are never stopped once they get started. And really the benefit, I just cannot see it for people in the borough. Maybe, but for Brickhill, I can't see it. That's it for me, Mark.
Thanks, Alistair. Thank you for the comments. Going to move on to Wendy Ryder, if I can get to you, Wendy, and bring you off mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep, far away.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank all the speakers tonight for their points that they've made. Many of them, which I understand. I am a resident, have been a resident in Brickhill for 35 years. I love it. I think we have a lot going for us in Bedford. But at the end of the day, whichever route is taken, somebody's going to be unhappy. But I support also a lot of things that Charlie has said. If I just draw people's attention, this decision will be the East West Rail decision and government, not ours. Obviously we can make our points and we must make our points. We need EWR to attend a meeting so they can answer these questions that our residents are asking. So I hope we can push for that. But I would like to state something that East West Rail and the government, they came to the decision at the moment for Route E in following the consultation that was made, and they made this decision on the 30th of January 2019. For the reasons, it delivers the best value for taxpayers, returning the most benefit for every pound spent. It was the most popular option with people who responded to the EWR consultation, and it delivers the best opportunities for supporting and enhancing the environment. So they're very positive reasons. So we obviously do understand residents' feelings. Both Charlie and I live in Brickhill, and we're very fond of Brickhill, and we work hard for Brickhill, and we will continue to work hard for Brickhill. This debate will go on for a long while, but let's get EWR with us and let's ask them the questions that you're asking. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Are there any other councillors who'd like to speak, please? I can't necessarily spot any hands, so if you probably the easiest way is to message me. Yeah, and okay, before we move on to other councillors, I'm gonna try and share my screen again, because we just for information for the residents here, we have been, as Charlie said earlier, we thought it would be helpful if we had East West Rail present to talk to residents, to explain more and to answer questions. And for whatever reason, they did not reply to our inquiries, despite at the recent parish council meeting in with town parish councils across Bedford Borough. I specifically messaged one of their guys, and I told him that we had written to them, that our clerk Sue had written to them on a certain day, certain time, and despite all that, there was no reply from them until yesterday. So I'm going to try and just go into into my screen, if that's okay with you, and let's see if this works. Yeah. So can you all see this message on the screen? please. Wendy, can you talk? Can you sit? I think you're still off mute.
No.
Okay. Ah, I know why, because it's the second. Oh my word, my apologies. Select it and then share. My apologies, that's my fault. Okay, so we've had an email back, actually came in 5 o'clock yesterday evening, in which they're responding to our request for a meeting, and they're basically saying, can you all see that now? I'm hoping you can. A few nods, thumbs up, whatever. Right, okay, so they're saying they couldn't provide a speaker, can only apologize, and okay, I probably asked them some more questions, and I have to say, so that's 2 meetings I've now been at where East West Rail has spoken recently, and neither of them have I learnt anything new other than that they are planning to go and consult on their specific route, and it's due to happen sometime in March. And just to clarify that, to confirm the point, last time round they were consulting on 5 routes, or 5 route options. This time round they'll be consulting on the 1 route. That's their intention. Now that's obviously unless they are instructed by presumably by their senior leadership or the minister to change their approach. So yeah, so they're basically saying they're happy to address any questions the council may have on East West Rail. And I think coming back to what we said earlier, listen to what people had to say earlier in this meeting, we can absolutely do that in response to the comments that have been made by people in the chat window, and obviously also verbally during that earlier session. So again, just to emphasize, we've tried to get hold of them. They've been very unresponsive, which is not great at all, but we can follow up with points with them, and that's the point we can absolutely do. Okay, right. So I'm just going to stop sharing now. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak, please? I'm looking across the room. Okay, Catherine, want to come back in again? And then Charlie after that, is that right? Okay, can you hear me? Charlie's pointing at something, but Catherine, can you unmute?
I just want to say Stuart has been trying to get your attention.
Thank you very much. My apologies. All right, thanks, Catherine. Right, Stuart Green, if I can find you, probably under. Sorry, Stuart, I can't find you.
I think he's getting a bit of help. There he is, right.
Hello. Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Then you can.
Thank you, Catherine, for allowing me in. Yes, oh gosh, I've listened to this for the past 3 hours, and oh dear, I'm sorry the whole debate has got so political. I mean, it's got very political, and some of the comments going across the screen here have been very abusive indeed. And added to which, I don't know if everyone can see this, but this scurrilous leaflet came through my letterbox the other day, which I'm sure has been delivered to every house in our street. I don't take kindly to people delivering this sort of thing. But to get back to the main issue, I mean, it's very clear that in order for Bedford to benefit from the East-West Rail, the line has got to come into Bedford. I mean, that's obviously very logical. The only route on offer, the only way we're going to get the route to come into Bedford is as the East-West Rail has shown us, is to go with Route E. Clearly, there are going to be winners and losers. The question is, who's going to be the biggest winners and the biggest losers? Obviously, Bedford as a whole is going to be a big winner. In terms of Brickhill, clearly, as we've heard tonight, people in Woodlands and at the top end there are going to be, they think, losers. As for the whole of Brickhill, I don't think the whole of Brickhill, on balance, are going to be losers. I think we're going to be winners, because let's not forget, we're not a village 12 miles out of Bedford. We are an integral part of Bedford. So I think from that point of view, Brickhill is going, overall, is going to be winners. So we have to be practical in this. So to be practical, we have to cooperate with East West Rail to get the best environmental route on offer. When we talk about modern railways, there are all sorts of ways in which the impact of that railway can be minimised. And I think that if we cooperate with East West Rail, and if we try to get them to minimise the environmental impact as it goes through the north of our parish there, so much the better. I'm not actually convinced that the line of the route can actually not go in a tunnel, because when we're talking about the construction of modern railways, it's as cheap to provide a tunnel as it is to do cuttings or cut and cover. So there we go. I think we ought to engage with Network Rail in a positive way. And in that way, I think we can protect the interests of people in Woodlands much better.
Thank you. Thank you, Stuart. John Durham, do you want to speak now? I had a message saying that John wanted to speak.
Yes, I'm unmuting me now. I'm a little bit concerned because I wasn't a member of the council when the vote went through in January 2019. I would like to ask a question now. If the council we've got in now was asked to vote again, would the voting be the same as last time, or would it be different to go against the route?
It's entirely up to you. It's down to the council to decide what they want to do on this.
I think the Brickhill residents are up in arms, which I can understand why now, leading all these issues and things. But I think they want to see the parish council stand up for Brickhill, not for the borough council what they want. It's just a thought that I think the Brickhill parish people want us to support them, not the borough council. And can we do anything to get the route to be looked at again? It's just a question.
Yeah, I mean, so the only concern I have is at this stage, and I've said this to various people, I almost feel as if this conversation, this discussion is happening 6 months too late, or it's 6 months too early, because in a few months' time they're going to announce their next consultation, and then we'll be in the into, you know. Having said that, yeah, we can raise issues now. We can say we've had lots of concerns raised by residents. What's your position on that? And that's totally, you know, we can do whatever we want. It's up to you entirely.
You're saying we're too late now, but I think in January 2019 was probably 12 months too early, because we didn't know all of the issues going on. So I was led to believe, I didn't know until recently, that it's including freight. The first meeting I went to, I think with you, Mike, over at Copal, I don't think freight was even mentioned when I was there.
Again, if you want to go back and listen to me wittering on one of our previous parish council meetings, I do say, you know, I do reference freight, but I mean, people have found various references to the inclusion of freight, the use of freight on that track, on that line, and that's probably more than I was aware of at the time. I can't now remember what documents I had in front of me at the point when I was referencing it. Yeah.
And also, even the guy at the meeting on February the 4th, he was approached about the freight issue then, and he steered around it. He couldn't give us a clear answer on it.
Sorry, which gentleman are you referring to?
The gentleman from the rail people. I can't think what his name was. He was there, wasn't he?
Oh, you
Will
mean
Gallagher? Will Gallagher.
Will Gallagher, that's the guy. Yeah, he even steered around that question. Then he didn't give us a straight answer.
Yeah.
And I think another thing that Charles said, and a lot of people I've been speaking to as well about this thing, they saw it's never going to happen in our lifetime. And I think some people still think that now, And I think that they just realise now it is going to happen.
Yeah.
So we need support to support our local parish people rather than just the borough council.
Okay. Thank you, John. Anything else just now?
No, that's mine.
That's great. Okay, Catherine, you're indicating again.
So are we going to propose a vote in terms of what we do next? Because I think it's kind of clear that there's more work that needs to be done around this issue for our residents. And what are we as a parish council going to do? Because we don't need to keep going around in circles at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's entirely up to you. It's up to the councillors to propose and vote on what they wish. Okay. Catherine, you still got, you put your hand back up again.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so an option could be that we consult all our residents in Brickhill and then use the information we get from the consultation to write back to both the borough and also the rail provider to say this is what we're saying, and maybe asking the questions that will come out of the consultation. I'm quite excited that this is engaging the local community, because I know we've tried to do loads of other consultation and we do not get feedback. So this is a good time as any. And I suppose we can throw in the local plan consultation in there as well, as we'll get quite a lot of people engaging with us at this point.
Chairman, Michael, I think, has been waving for quite a while, and Alistair. So I think Michael needs to speak next.
Alistair.
And then Charles and Alistair, I can see.
If Michael's wanting to speak, he's not spoken yet. So unfortunately, I can't see Michael on the screen in front of me. So
I can see him. Ask to unmute. I've asked him to unmute.
Yeah, same here. Mike, if you want to, Michael Jarman Webb, please. You're right. Far away. Please speak.
To start with, my screen keeps freezing, so hopefully it's not freezing your end. Can you hear us okay?
Keep going.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Right, okay. Yeah, I just want to say, when I'm not going to go over the actual issue of the train line, that's been dealt with. What I want to say is, when I won the by-election in whatever year it was, I don't know, it must have been 2018 now. I stood as an independent candidate, even though I at the time was a member of a political party, but I didn't want to be swayed by decisions from anything else. I wanted to represent the people that elected me, and I still want to do that. Obviously, the people of Woodlands Park and the people of Brickhill have made it very plain what they wish in this meeting. Beforehand, in the initial vote in 2019, I voted against the proposal for Route E, as obviously did Chris. We were the lone voices at that time. My opinion hasn't changed. I'm still totally opposed to Route E, and as I say, I believe the majority of residents, now they're becoming aware of it, also are. So at some stage in this debate, I want to propose a motion. I don't know whether you want that now or whether you want it at a later stage.
It's up to you entirely, Michael, if you want to.
Well, in that case, I'll go for it now then. I'm going to propose a motion that the parish council rescinds the decision we made in 2019, and that we vote against Route E, and that we join forces with the other parish councils that are affected on the route, who are all opposed to Route E. That's from memory, Reynolds, Ravensden, Wilden, Colmworth, Clapham, I believe Oakley, Great Barford. They all oppose Route E. They're all affected by it. We're affected by it, Woodlands Park especially, but Brickhill as a whole will be affected by it. We are here to represent their parishioners. I intend to do that, and I hope that the other parish councillors will stick up for the people that they voted for them, and not for other causes. And that includes the borough councillors. You're here on the parish council to represent parish councillors, to represent the parish. You're not here as borough councillors. So I propose that motion, Mark.
Thank you, Michael.
I'll second that as well.
Who's that speaking? Is that John?
John, yep.
Yep.
I think we should also say, Mike, it's not Woodlands and Brickhill, it's Brickhill Parish Council for the whole area. We should be united one.
Yeah.
Okay, that has been seconded. Thank you very much indeed. Now, I had Alistair was wishing to speak earlier, and then I've got Charlie also indicating.
Can I just add one thing quickly, Mark?
Oh, sorry, Michael, please. Yeah. You are freezing a bit occasionally. I'm not sure what's going on there with the screen, but
yeah, can I just add? Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but can it be a recorded vote?
Yeah, you can ask for a recorded vote.
Thank you.
As far as I'm aware, that's it. Yeah. Right. Okay. Alistair, do you want to come back in again? I think you were indicating. Is that correct? I can see you. I'm trying to press the on. Getting on to the great thing. Sorry. Not sure what's going on there.
Oh, there we go. I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah,
I was, Michael stole my thunder there, actually, because I think we need a vote on this. And the parish council constituents, of course, have changed somewhat since 2019. And as though John's already seconded, Michael, I think we need a vote on this. It's not a question of finessing Route E. It's a question of we don't want Route E, right? I think that's basically the issue.
Yes.
Okay. Can I just say, I mean, I think I have, again, I'm not expressing a personal opinion. It's more about, I'm trying to understand about the whole business of fairness in this process. And I've said this to other people as well. When the consultation happened, the presumption was that East West Rail are an honest broker in making their decisions about where the route would go. And everyone had the opportunity to comment, and that was done, and then they made a decision. By eliminating routes D and E, that by definition pushes it basically onto A, B, and C. And I'm a bit personally, I'm not it's not about where the route is. It's simply about the equity in that. That's actually what concerns me. So if I had to make any decisions, I'll be more in favour of asking people, talking to people, addressing the issues, rather than trying to push it onto another area, if you see what I mean. Okay, so that's my comments.
Sorry, Mike, there's a comment just came up saying that we represent Brickhill.
Yeah.
And that's right. So, you know, we're talking about Brickhill now as a parish. I'm sure it's our responsibility to look after Brickhill at this stage.
Yeah. No, it is, but then does it then become a question of, you know, he who shouts loudest wins the day? You know, that's what it seems to me, rather than understanding other aspects of the proposal. Anyway, that's entirely up to, I'm not opposing. Charlie, do you want to come back in again? Right, I'm trying to get you off mute. Yeah, I think you're fine. Oh no.
Thanks, Mark. First of all, could you let Corinne back in? She's been kicked off. I think her computer died.
Okay.
I am trying. She's not in the waiting room yet, Charlie. I've asked her to rejoin, and I'll let her in when she comes in. Yeah,
that's great. Catherine, I thought, spoke a lot of common sense when she said that we need to consult with our residents, and I would second her motion. that we go out and have a consultation with our residents, and then we can put those views to East West Rail, because the problem is we're dealing with the facts as Grant Shapps as MP has given them to us about the fastest, the cheapest, the least environmentally friendly, all that kind of stuff. And I think that we need to let Brickhill residents' views be put to EWR in a way that they weren't able to do tonight. And I would second that motion, and be happy if we were able to take a vote on it.
Charlie, we've already got a motion that's on the table. If you want,
yeah, but Catherine's was first.
She didn't move it.
I thought you had, Catherine. You not want to move a motion?
First motion that's moved was Michael's.
Okay. Well, we'll vote on that, and then we'll vote on Catherine's.
So, you know, you can amend Michael's, or you basically, that's the next stage in the game. Is you've got a proposal on the table. It's been seconded validly.
Catherine's got her hand up. Do you want to just see what she's got to say?
Sure. Trying to get Catherine off mute if she's in.
Happy to put that down as an amendment to what Michael said, but I just feel voting without being able to get East West Rail to answer the things that the residents have said, and giving the residents, the wider community of residents, the opportunity to contribute in a way that we've said that they perhaps felt that they haven't. I think that's a good way forward. It's a consensus. I'm trying to keep everybody together rather than.
Catherine, I'm trying to get you off mute there if you want to come back in again. I keep on clicking on the button. Sorry. Can you see any prompts? Oh, right. Oh, sorry, I've done the wrong Catherine. Sorry. My fault. My fault. There's a Catherine in the call as well, and not a Catherine.
I had started to propose some words in terms of what we could do. And I'd also mentioned about the local plan as part of the consultation, because I think we have an opportunity for all the residents to actually inform this decision that we're going to make. So I know quite a lot of people are now aware, and we've only got 170 Brickhill residents today, so this is good. But we can amend Michael's version of the motion, so I'm happy to amend Michael's. I'm not precious about it.
So you've got to work out what is your amendment to his motion.
To just include a consultation to residents, as well as taking that forward. So we have people who have participated, and we have people who've been able to participate electronically, but there most probably are people who haven't been able to participate, who would like their voice, and that will make our stance stronger when we go back to actually say we've got this number of residents from Brickhill who are against this. And that's my take. I'm not precious about it, but it's a thought.
Okay, so I'm going to come back to Michael, if I may, because Michael, my interpretation of what you said was your motion is to withdraw the support for the route D and E. Can you just can you perhaps just, I think we probably need a form of words here to make sure we understand exactly what you're proposing. I'm trying to get you off mute again. I don't know, I click on the over the image.
I'm live.
Oh, good. Right.
Right. I'm quite happy to relation for the residents, but my original motion still stands that I want to rescind the decision to support the Route E, and I want this parish council to join with the other parish councils. But yeah, by all means, consult people then after that's been agreed. It makes no difference whether we're consulting people agreeing with it as we technically are now, or whether we're not agreeing with it. There's no difference. So as far as I'm concerned, my motion stands as I first said it. But I'm happy to agree to a consultation after that.
Okay, so in a sense, you're incorporating Catherine's wish to consult residents as well as rescinding support for what we actually said was supporting for D or E, I think was the former words that was used. Through Brickhill, through Bedford to the north. I haven't got the exact words dead in front of me just now, but I think that's the essence of what it said before. So are you happy to incorporate Catherine's wish to consult?
Yeah, providing we come to a decision now.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, certainly consulting as well.
Okay, so I think as you're accepting her amendment, that becomes the substantive motion. Are there any other questions on that from any of the council? Alistair, please come in. Trying to get you off mute again. Sorry. Bear in mind, I can't see all the councillors necessarily. Charlie, I've got to see Charlie indicating it. So Alistair first, please.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Just to be clear, though, with Michael's motion, the motion is that we rescind that earlier decision, and then after that we can consult. We're not waiting for more consultation and then doing something.
No.
Right.
That's
okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Charlie. Try and get you off mute again. Sorry. Wonderful system.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I can't support a motion that says we'll vote and then we'll consult afterwards. What we want to do is consult with residents, get all their views together, and then put them to someone from EWR before we before we rescind what we previously decided. That seems to me to be the logical way to go, Mark.
Right. Any other councillors wish to speak? Thank you, Charlie.
I'd just like to say one thing, but surely we've got enough evidence now, more than we had in January, February 2019, to withdraw support in this route.
I think we've heard tonight that people are concerned about lots of things which EWR are contesting, and indeed the minister's contesting, Baroness de Vere's contesting. We've heard lots of arguments from residents which quite clearly the government disagrees with completely. And I would want to hear somebody answer those in authority. And I think that was the word I used at the last meeting, someone in authority to answer these questions, because I can't answer for the economics of the whole route between Bedford and Cambridge. I can't talk about the environmental impact of routes A, B, and C as opposed to D and E. We need someone from Network, from East West Rail to come and do that. Now, if we do that, and residents listen to it, and we are able to put that to somebody who knows what they're talking about from East West Rail or the minister himself, then I think that's the time when people should be voting. Now, that's my own position, and I understand others will disagree with it, and we must all get along together afterwards.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Anyone else wish to speak? Any other councillors wish to speak?
I'd like to just say one more word. I think the residents of Brickhill want us to have a stance against it now, not wait for another consultation. Vote what we think now, which I hope will be against it, that's the parish councillors, and then do the consultation. I think the parish people of Brickhill want us to support them.
Yeah, thank you, John. Okay, great. Any other councillors wish to speak? And I'm afraid it's quite hard for me to see everyone.
Mark, can I just say that we are missing Corinne Royden, and I can't see her come into the waiting room, and I have sent her an email. I suspect Charles has also tried to contact her. So we are missing Corinne. Her computer died, and I am trying to find a way of seeing if we can get it back in, really, because before you vote, you really want to have everybody.
I'll make sure that she votes. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Charles. That's fine.
Right. So I think we're moving towards a vote. Unless any other councillors wish to speak, go to a vote if that's okay. And Michael asked for a recorded vote. So Sue, would like to do that, please?
Corinne's in the meeting, Mark. Corinne says she's in.
Okay, good
She
stuff.
can hear and understand.
Okay,
All
but
right.
so as far as I know, though, no other councillors.
Mark, can I just ask you now to clarify exactly what you're voting for?
Right.
So can we agree the wording of it?
We are voting on Michael Jarman-Webb's proposition that we withdraw support for D and E.
Right.
He also wants us to take part in this consortium with the other parish councils on this side of the town to oppose D and E. And he was happy to take on board Catherine's proposal that we also consult with residents about this. That would be after. So in other words, we would withdraw our support for D&E now, and we will be consulting later. And obviously consulting in these COVID times is somewhat tricky, but that's the way it is. We do what we can do despite the limitations, right? Okay. Michael, have I summed that up correctly? Okay, sorry, you're on mute again. Apologies. But if you can give me a thumbs up if you're happy, or if you want to speak, that's fine too. Okay, thank you very much. Right. So, as I say, we'll do a recorded vote now, please, Sue, if you would like to.
So can I read out and everyone's name and have for Michael's motion or against, okay?
Not everyone is off mute, though, for the councillors. So,
well, it's going to be that's the only way we can seriously do it. So I suggest councillors unmute themselves if they can.
May not be able to.
Oh, you do. Oh, okay. Raise a hand then. I've got to be able to see everybody because obviously there's 166 people on here.
Yeah. Currently sort of circling, so I might be dying here. I'm not sure what's going on with my machine here. So
well, let me go through the people I can see. Okay, and as I go, Stuart. For or against? Is that against? Okay. Okay.
That's against.
Where am I going? Anne.
Can you do
Did
a
you
thumbs
say
up?
against?
Thumbs up or thumbs down, Anne? I can't see it. Sorry.
I still can't see.
Lower.
Down.
Against.
Lower down.
Okay.
Okay. Where am I going? Who else can I see? Alistair.
I'm for that motion.
Okay. Oops, hang on, I've lost my pen end. Right, there we go. Where else can I see? Mark, you're not voting. Yep. John.
For.
John is for. Where am I going? Charles. Okay. Where else can I see? Corinne. Do we know Corinne's vote? Oh, she's there. Okay. Where are we? Who else can I see? Michael.
For.
Okay. Mark, we know. Sue Dash. I can't see her. Let me go on a bit. Where are you, Sue Dash? I can't see Sue Dash at all. Oh, hang on. Oh, my screen's now whizzing round. Who else can I see? Peter, can I see Peter? What's that? Abstain. Oh, I've lost everybody, hang on. Was that abstain, Peter? I think, where else? Morris. Oh, lost Morris now. Morris? Nope, can't see Morris, he's disappeared. Let me go around. Catherine. I can't see Catherine, sorry. Wendy. Okay, Wendy, okay. Who else have I got then? Morris. Oh, Morris. Okay. And then Peter was abstaining. Anne, I've got Catherine. I can't see Catherine at the minute. Let me have a look. I've lost Catherine. Catherine, you're 4, yeah. Okay, I think that is everybody. Sudesh. I don't know where Sudesh is. Sudesh, I can't see. Your phone, you're too narrow. I can't see what you, oh. I can't see. Yes, because, yeah, but I can't see what you're voting. For or against? For or against? For. Okay. Right, I think that's everybody. Okay. So in that case, we have in favour, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in favour. We've got against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 against, and 1 abstention. Okay.
Sorry, Sue, could you just clarify who voted what? There's a lot of chat going on about people
Right.
like to know who
So in
voted
favour,
which way.
so in favour of Michael's motion was Michael, Sudash, John, Alistair, Catherine. Okay. And then against were Charles Royden, Corinne Royden, Wendy, Maurice Johns, Anne Reeve, and Stuart Green. And then we had 1 abstention, which was Peter Blakeman, and we had Mark, who didn't take part in the vote, Mark Fitzpatrick. So is there anybody there that I've got the wrong vote for? Mark, are you still there? Okay, Mark, I've lost you completely. Mark, I think Mark has disappeared. It's not going to help. Mark, are you back? Can somebody else on the parish council who can hear, let's see, Peter is vice chair, aren't you? Are you able to speak, Peter? Has everything, the sound all frozen? Catherine, can you hear?
I can hear you.
Oh, right.
I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you, Sue.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. So where are we, Peter?
Have you fallen off?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Peter?
Okay. Sue, can you unmute my Mark?
I've asked him to unmute.
She's asking you to unmute.
Yeah, that's Mark to unmute.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you very
right.
much.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone. I had to. My personal laptop froze, and so I had to join by a different machine. So apologies for that. And so I missed the. I guess I've missed the vote, which is. So that's taken, and that is. If you to confirm the decision, please, Sue.
There were 5 in support.
Just the
6 in support of the motion, 6 against the motion, 1 abstention, and you didn't vote.
Right. Okay. So that motion is lost, therefore. Yeah.
It is, yes.
I'm really sorry. My machine just decided. Okay. Right. Would anyone like to propose anything else?
Catherine has her hand up.
Catherine, please.
I feel that we still need to consult, and I feel that the fact that we haven't got we didn't get Michael's motion through does not mean that this should be the end of it. I think that we should consult, and then at the end of the consultation we still then put the proposal, forward. But I don't see why we can't still be in partnership with all the other parish councillors, or parish councils that are, against this, while we are consulting our residents to find out what they want. So my motion would be to consult the Brickhill Parish Council residents on Route E, but also to work in partnership with the other parish councils to look at how we can make sure that this route does not affect us and our residents going forth.
How can we approach other councils who are against the route when we can't vote against it from Brickhill?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. We're prepared to let them vote against it, but we're not prepared to support them.
I'm trying to find a middle ground and a way forward, but yeah.
I honestly think we've let the Brickhill people down, full stop.
Oh.
And seeing the responses along the bottom of the screen, we've shot ourselves in the foot in the big time.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Mark, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Who is that speaking? Sorry.
Yeah, it's Charlie. I did ask that we could have a vote on a motion to consult with the residents in Brickhill and put their views to someone from EWR. And I still want that on the table, please, if I can. I'm sure someone would support us having that dialogue to represent residents and get the views from the professionals who are proposing this route, so that they. Well, I mean, I don't mind if it's someone from EWR. It could be the minister, Grant Shapps, if we can get him to come to Bedford and listen to the views that residents have. I am concerned about saying that we want to work with Parish Council opposed to it, and then that, as you said earlier, Mark, just means that someone else has to have the railway going through Great Barford or wherever it is. So I would ask for that consultation to take place with our residents who do feel that they haven't had their views heard the first time around. Whether they had the opportunity or not is irrelevant. They do feel that way, and therefore I think that Brickhill Parish Council should allow a process for residents to express their views on the route taken, and we'll put those views to East West Rail. I think that should still happen. Or Grant Shapps, who's ultimately responsible for whether the railway goes ahead or not.
Okay. So if you want to move a motion, that's absolutely fine. You need to come up with
so moved.
So please confirm your words for that.
The Brickhill Parish Council consults with Brickhill residents and holds a meeting with either, because people who are putting this railway here, because it's not a council railway, this is a government railway. We've got to remember that.
Okay, you've proposed that, Charlie. Is there a seconder for that motion, please? I'm looking across the room, trying to spot who the councillors are. Anybody wish to second that? I can't see any hands up. I can't. Sorry, Charlie, you're now on mute again. Apologies. You're still on mute, Charlie. Oh, Wendy. Okay. Right. Let's get Wendy off mute, please. It's really tricky, this, because unfortunately, the way this system works, we don't have all the people who need to be on this part of the conversation at the top of the screen, so I can't see everyone. So Wendy, I'm just going to get you off mute if I can. Actually, sorry, apologies. I'm in. Yeah, Sue, you're going to have to do this for me, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I've currently got a little circle whizzing round that suspect tells me, yeah. So I've got to find Wendy like you have. I can't find her. There's so many people on here.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Wendy. Hang on. Nope, Sandra. Hang on. There she is. Right. Can you unmute Wendy. There you go, I think.
Thank you.
Right.
How difficult. Am I allowed to say anything before I second this motion?
Well, why not just second it first?
Motion. I second the motion.
Right, and then please go ahead.
I would just like to say, I mean, I'm reading these messages. I'm sure Charlie agrees with me. We both support residents. I know we're not going with this at the moment, but that doesn't mean we don't support the residents in Brickhill. I think we work very hard and we will continue to work hard. And because we can't agree with everybody, and I'm not sure that everybody on this call are from Brickhill, I'm not sure. But whatever goes, I will continue to support members in Brickhill, or residents in Brickhill, whatever their feelings are about myself. Thank you.
Okay, so that's been seconded. Does anyone else want to?
I did second the motion.
Yeah, I know. That's been seconded. So does anyone else want to speak on this motion? And again, I'm asking the councillors to indicate if they...
Michael's indicating.
Could you please unmute him? I can't unmute him because I'm no longer a co-host of this session, I don't think, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, very, very short and to the point. It's easy to say you support the people that elected you, but words are cheap, actions count far more. That's all I've got to say on that. Talk is cheap.
Right, okay. Thank you, Michael. Anyone else want to contribute to the conversation?
I agree, Mike, I'm afraid to say. It's interesting the borough councils voted for this and none of the parish councils have, or seconded it.
John, let's try and, okay, let's keep the comments.
Okay. When, and I just feel that there's a risk here that a consultation becomes open-ended and too long, and at the end of it, it will be too late for any concrete action to be taken. So
yeah,
I'm reluctant to support this, frankly, because I think we should be consulting with the residents anyway, so I don't quite understand why it needs a motion. However, it must be time limited so that we get on with this. It's been kicked, the can's been kicked down the road for a long time. It certainly looks that way from outside. So, let's get a limit on the time, please.
Yeah, Charlie, are you happy to, let's take that point on board. Are you okay with that? A time motion. Charlie, you're on mute. So can you please unmute Charlie?
I can, if I can, yeah, hang on, there you go. I've asked him to unmute. Okay.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah, I take the point that we should be consulting all the time, and hopefully we are. It's been difficult in these COVID times to go around knocking on doors, which is what Wendy and I normally do, and we want to get people's views. But I'm more than happy to put a time limit on it. What we do need to do though is make sure that we have someone from East West Rail or the minister there to answer these questions. That's the important thing, and however long that takes, I suspect that in the next few weeks we will know where this railway is proposed to go. And the problem is at the moment that there's quite a wide corridor. One part of it takes it way away from Brickhill, and one brings it much nearer to Brickhill, so the urban area. And so I'm relaxed about the timing that people want to put on it, but I don't want it to be curtailed because we haven't given people time to have a proper consultation. They don't know about it, blah blah blah.
Right. Any other comments on Charlie's motion? Catherine, again, Sue, could you please unmute Catherine? Oh,
I'm
she's
unmuted.
Good.
Okay, so a quick question would be, why would the rail company listen to us if they see that we already have their support? So if we still, if we're going to go talk to them and they see that they have our support, why would they speak to us? Whereas actually, if we're going to them saying that this is a way for you to engage with us for our support, then it's a different conversation. So that's one part. But also in terms of once we've consulted with the residents and once we've spoken with the residents, can we add to our consultation to say that we will come back to another vote in terms of what we are doing as a parish council as well?
Mark, I'm happy to withdraw my motion because we've been going on now for 3 hours, and we're not getting very far. When is our next meeting of the parish council?
First Thursday in March.
Okay, well, I suggest then that the first Thursday in March we try to have a motion which is put out before the council that we can all tentatively agree to. Otherwise, I don't think we should be going on beyond 3 hours. So I'm happy to let my motion fall.
Okay.
We may be able to in the next few weeks perhaps speak to the MP, Richard Fuller, and he might be able to help us resolve this in getting somebody from East West Rail or the minister to come.
Our meeting's next week, Thursday.
Yeah. Well, we'll take it to the Thursday in April then, and then we'll have the route as well.
Maybe. Maybe not.
But I don't think, Mark, we should be going beyond 3 hours. We're making our decisions on the hoof, and I don't think that's acceptable now.
I'm in the hands of the council here. If they want to not make a decision tonight, that's up to you. If you want to make a decision tonight, that's up to you as well.
I think it's fair for the residents for us to make a decision tonight, because I think they've also sat on this call for 3 hours. So I think it's fair for us to come to some kind of a decision.
So Charlie's withdrawn his motion.
I'm happy to propose a motion. In my motion, it's simple as in saying that we will consult the members of the Brickhill Parish, and get a result to them by our April meeting. But also in the meantime, with those results at that meeting, we as a parish will then have a vote again on whether we support or withdraw support to the railway company, including insisting that we have a representative to that meeting on that night where we make our vote and present our consultation results to them. I'm happy to take an amendment because I understand that people don't want to withdraw their support tonight, but we need to come up with the results tonight. Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah. Am I on? No.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, Wendy still can't get back in, I'm afraid, Mark.
Is she off?
Right. Yeah, I'll second Catherine on that. Yeah, I'll second Catherine on that we have a full consultation with the parishioners, and then a vote after that to decide which way we want to go, whether we want to back E or support the parishioners in not wanting Route E, something like that in English.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments from? Thank you, Michael. Any other comments from the other councillors, please? And bear in mind, I can't see you all necessarily.
Stuart's got his hand up.
Stuart, please. Stuart Green. Could you take Stuart off mute, please, Sue?
Well, I've asked him to unmute.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah. Exactly what form is this consultation going to take, and who's going to organise it, and then who's going to decide what questions are asked of whom? Someone needs to organise it, don't they?
That will come down to the parish council. Okay.
It can be online, but we can write to everyone in the parish using mail.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's somebody who's somebody speaking. Right. John, were you trying to come in there, John?
Hello,
Oh, sorry, Michael. Apologies. Sorry.
yeah, sorry, Sudesh has just phoned me up and said she's trying to get in and talk and she can't get in. So
is she in the meeting?
Yeah, I'm afraid I can't access the waiting room. I think we're coming to the end of the limit for this meeting. That's the problem. And so apart from about 3 people, I can't access that meeting. So I can't now, if people are out, I don't know how we get them back in.
Okay.
Sudesh is in. You just said she wants to talk and she's not being let.
I can't access the waiting room.
She's not waiting. She's in the room.
She's in. She's in the
to unmute her. That's all.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. Let me look through, try and find her. Oh, hang on. I think I might have found her now. Okay. There we go. Okay. If you do want a meeting, councillors, you need to just put something in the chat, and then I've got a chance of seeing. Okay. I've asked her to unmute, so
yeah,
it's all down to her.
Yeah, she's off. All right. Hi, Sudesh.
Hi, UK.
Yeah, good.
Good. I think that we need to have another meeting for the residents and, you know, highly for Michael as well, because I don't think it should be left open. So I carry the motion through, and I think that we should come to some sort of agreement.
Yeah, so in absolute simple terms, that's what we're going to try and do, right? So Catherine's put forward an idea that we consult and we basically come back.
I agree with what Catherine says.
Right, so I think that basically means we conduct a consultation exercise, which I presume will be around asking people for their views on different aspects of the proposals. And we can do that in hopefully a fairly objective way. And then essentially I've seen a lot of stuff in the chat window this evening, so that would cover many different aspects of what people may want to comment on. As well as, for instance, some of the stuff that Mike Barlow said earlier, there's a lot of stuff there we could draw upon to consult on officially. And then we can come back to, it does take time. It does, if we do it, especially do it online, it does exclude some people who are not online people, you know, who are not internet users. But we'd probably get a good chunk of residents able to comment.
Okay.
So, anyone else want to talk to Catherine's motion? I appreciate I know it's 3 hours since we started. It's a bit late in the evening. It'd be helpful if we can draw it to a close, but it would be helpful also if we can make a decision before we end the meeting.
Mark, Alistair's not in the meeting at the minute either, and of course I can't access the waiting room anymore, so.
Oh, okay.
It's because we're running on for so long, that's the problem, right. I think.
Well.
So we are missing councillors now.
Okay,
can we form this resolution at the next meeting, Martin? It's only a week away. I mean, our standing orders say we should only be 2 hours, and we've been now over 3 hours. Can we not wait to the next meeting and get a form of words that we're happy with?
Again, it's up to you as councillors to decide. Do you want to vote on this now, or do you want to?
Well, personally, I don't want to vote on it after over 3 hours when we're not even managing to get everyone into the debate because we've lost the time on Zoom. I mean, it's not acceptable.
We can't take advice from you on that. What do you reckon? What's your advice to me, please?
My advice? Sorry, you're asking my advice. I think you need to either decide that you're going to vote on what Catherine has proposed and has been seconded, and that we find a way, either by email, etc., to access the people who are not any longer on this meeting, or you do take the decision that you're going to effectively constitute next week at your next meeting, which again residents are entitled to come to, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
I think you are getting to the point now, it's gone 10:30 and you seem to be going around in circles, really.
Catherine, well, okay, so Catherine has moved a proposal. do you want to withdraw that, or do you want to leave it and vote on it now, Catherine?
Can we vote on it and take votes from everybody else who's fallen off the conversation
meeting, yeah,
online? Because we've done that before, so yeah.
Okay. So Catherine, Michael was supporting your proposal, I believe. So I take that as being a seconding for that.
Can we have the wording of it, Mark? Can we have the wording of what we're voting on?
Sure.
I think you need to read it, Mark, because unfortunately I looped out partway through it. I'm sorry.
Well, unfortunately, so I think, Catherine, if I can summarise it, you want to consult with residents for their views on East-West Rail as a whole, or East-West Rail for this routes in this area, or what? How do you want to limit
this area? Routes in this area.
Mm-hmm. And with a view of completing that before our April meeting. That's what I think you were suggesting.
Yeah.
Right.
A time limit to it.
Okay, and I think hopefully that Alistair would hopefully address that point that he was making. And Michael, you were trying to comment. Sorry.
Michael? Yeah, and the second part was that we vote on it as well.
Vote on the, well, obviously once you had the results, you then can do what you like with it. You can vote on it or not vote. You know, and
yeah, but that was part of the motion, wasn't it? That's what I'm adding.
Yeah.
Mark, are we guaranteed we're going to have someone from East West Rail at the April meeting?
Absolutely not. No, you know how it is, Charlie. They are.
Yeah, but Catherine said for April. That was all.
Yeah, no, to invite them to our meeting.
Yeah.
Does that mean that?
Well, unless someone from East West Rail is there, we're going to have the same votes.
Doesn't mean they have to be there.
Everybody's time. So we need to have someone from East West Rail there to answer these questions. Otherwise, I can't vote for this motion. And I'm all for the consultation. I'm the one who's proposed it.
Okay, I've got Wendy trying to get hold of me now. But basically, I think the essence, though, is that we can do consultation now to glean more questions or comments from residents before that meeting.
Yeah, and then we present those views to East West Rail
and the minister, but they don't have to be
the minister. Yeah, all the
minister. They don't have to be there in person. We can write to them.
Yeah, I think
I'm not precious about them being there in person. I'm precious about gathering the information and making sure we get it to them. But and also the vote we will be making is whether we continue to back Route E or not as well on that day.
Yeah, the problem with having just paperwork is we've got all the paperwork now, but people want to see a real person answering their questions from East West Rail.
Not really. I think they're shaking their heads to say they just want us to present to East West Rail, because we might get a person, but they might not be the decision makers.
Well, this is different than I was proposing, Mark, because I was asking for a consultation and to go to East West Rail. So it's a motion I can't vote for.
Well, that's your prerogative.
Of course, Catherine. Yeah, of course. You're on mute, Mark. Mark, you're on mute.
I'm asking him to unmute.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry.
Michael is also waving his hand.
Yeah, I'm back in now. Sorry about that. Right, Michael.
Yeah, or am I still on?
You are.
Yeah. All I was going to say, yes, by all means, invite East West Rail to the meeting or anyone else. It's their choice whether they turn up, but we should still go ahead whether they choose to turn up or not.
Yeah.
The people, you know, we're representing the people here. It's quite clear what the opinions are so far.
Sure.
We take on board whatever opinions we get through a consultation, whichever form that takes. If the train company wants to be represented, that's fine. If they don't, then we go without them.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate time is late. So can we just simply go to a vote on Catherine's proposal that we consult? We can bring it back to the April meeting, and then we have a vote at that meeting on what we want to do in terms of endorsement or not endorsement of any particular route.
With or without someone from East West Rail?
It will be with or without, yeah, because we've got
Yeah.
no guarantees that anybody will turn up.
Yeah, well, Wendy can't get back into the meeting.
No.
I know. Yeah, so she was
Nor
calling.
can Alistair. So I think we need to be careful that we make sure that we allow for those people, because
Yeah.
obviously you want to have everybody who's should be voting here, don't you?
Yeah. No, indeed, indeed. So I know it's not ideal. This is not an ideal situation. Unfortunately, we have technology issues tonight, and I do apologise for all those sort of issues, those sort of problems. We do need to. So I'm going to ask the councillors now just to vote on Catherine's proposal, please, to see those in favour of her proposal. Can I see those in
Can I
favour?
vote for? Am I allowed to vote as a proxy for Wendy because she can't get back in? She's asked.
No. So I think what we're going to do, if Sue, this is okay. Well, I know some of the councillors are unable to get in. So Sue, you can liaise with those councillors who are not present tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's right to do a proxy, but yes, quite right. I will go back by email and check that is what they're doing. It's the only way we can do it fairly, really.
We're going to have a rerun of the first vote, and that's
no,
well, it's yeah.
Well,
if you
not
just put
necessarily.
EWR in, we could have got somewhere on this.
This is a separate proposal.
Shame.
So can I see those please in favour of Catherine's proposal? Can I see either Catherine, John?
Yeah. Go
Michael.
slowly because I'm trying to watch and talk. So we've got Catherine, we've got John.
Michael.
Michael, yeah.
Sudesh.
Yes.
And Morris.
Yes.
Am I missing anybody?
Well, obviously we don't know about Alistair, and
No,
we
indeed.
don't know about Wendy.
Is Peter still here? I can't see Peter on my screen.
I can't see Peter either. I think some people have dropped out.
No, okay. So I'm seeing 5 people voting for that proposal. Can I see anybody voting against? Anyone voting against that proposal, please? So we've got Charlie and Stuart.
Wait a minute. So slow down. So against, we've got Charlie.
We've got 2 against.
We've got Stuart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And obviously you're abstaining.
I'm abstaining.
We don't know about Peter because we can't see him.
Yeah. Okay. So currently at the minute, that's 5 towards that proposal. Let's assume that if on the presumption that is approved, then we will go forward and conduct a form of consultation, if we may. And then we can give an update next week. We'll confirm as soon as we can after this meeting to what the outcome is.
Agree. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I can't see. This is technology, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We're all at the mercy. But what I can do is that we can put out, the vote as soon as I've double checked with everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So I think at this point we need to end the meeting unless I've missed anything. Sue?
No, I think that's fine, isn't it? I know that a member of the public wanted to speak, but I think maybe we're getting a bit late now, aren't we?
It is a bit late, and it is if you like, contrary to the rules. I know you want to speak, Mike, and I'm really sorry, but I will happily chat with you anytime, and you're welcome to come to our meeting next week. I'm sorry, Mike. Sorry, Mike. I can't actually hear you. Obviously, this is not an ideal situation. You can give me a shout after this meeting directly if you want, and talk to you then or anytime. But I am apologise, but we cannot do any further public elements in the meeting tonight. It is 10:42. Okay. So sorry, Mike. You're gesticulating, as are a few others. And look, guys, I'm very happy to talk to any of you pretty much any time. Please do contact me or try and contact your other councillors. Failing that, we'll speak next week. Right. Thank you very much for your attendance, and I wish you all a good night. And we'll talk soon, no doubt. Goodbye.
Did you save the chat, Sue?
I'm trying to, I think I have to wait till everyone leaves and then I save the meeting. Yeah.
If you go into chat at the bottom,
Yes.
you can click and it can press save chat.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. But the problem is because it's all getting unstable, I don't really want to take the risk of losing it. So I want people to leave and then I'll save the meeting, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Because at the minute, clicking on chat does nothing, which it should, I agree, but it's not. So, yeah.
I'll see you next week, Thursday.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, okay. It's not doing anything at all. Complete thing. I don't know what to do with that.